Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back in for our final day of the group stages of the Riyadh Masters, and it is, of course, MLP Dota and John X5. Jonathan, welcome back, sir. Another brand new day of some group stages here. How the hell are you doing?
Doing great, Mike. I can't believe we're closing out groups already.
Hmm.
Last day for our set matches. There could be a lot of tiebreakers. Who knows how it ends up here, Mike? You know how group stages are sometimes. You come out with a
Hmm.
couple of drawn series, you come out with some teams getting 2-0s and 0-2s, and you end up with a lot of tiebreakers. So that could happen here today. We've only got 2 set matches for us here first, but again, many multiple ties that can come out as we can take a look at that set sked today. Team Spirit up against 9Pandas for us first, then BBT up against TSM. So it should be rather interesting matchups. The EU special on this stream today, especially with that first matchup. Should be a lot of fun to see these two teams getting at it against each other, as there's already a lot of chatter in the lobby as well, Mikey. There's been a lot of chatter in the
Yeah,
lobby.
I can say Collapse had his sister took his keyboard sadly for Collapse. So he said, his sister said some things that he didn't mean to say, but there has been a lot of chat. It seems like Team Spirit and 9Pandas having a bit of fun with each other. Of course, for that second matchup that you saw earlier, like BBT against TSM, BBT's already secured their first place spot in Group B, so they're already locked in. They're making it through to the upper brackets in the best possible situation they could be, which is first place. So for them, there's not really much to play for against TSM, whereas TSM are fighting for their lives in Group B right now. So that should be a pretty interesting matchup because, again, BBT, they could choose to be the nice guys, and let them win if they really wanted to. But it's one of those things, you never really want to let anyone win. BBT probably just don't care. They probably just want to keep winning altogether. And in fact, BBT, out of all teams, they've only lost one series, and that was the other day to Team Secret, which I think shocked a lot of people. So, well, there you go. I think BBT will probably just want to finish the rest of their group off with just no more losses. See if TSM can kind of force it back their way and get their way through to the playoffs. But yeah, that's the current standing of things right now. Of course, if there are tiebreakers, I believe there will be tiebreakers on this stream potentially. We'll find
Depending on
out
how
later on,
many.
depending on how many. How
Yeah.
many? Right. Did you know the circumstances, or are there too many circumstances
There
for
are way too
tiebreakers,
many
John? Too many.
circumstances as it is. Like there's a lot of things that can happen from the next few results, particularly for Group A. I think Group B is a little bit less so, but again, there's still some chances for dividing line tiebreakers with relegation and lower bracket starts, potentially between an upper bracket and lower bracket start as well. That is kind of shifting gears. Group A, again, it's a lot of things can happen, so you've just got to watch. I'm not sure if we're doing the whole new statal head-to-head score thing. That I have no idea how any of that
Ah,
works
yes.
for non-determinant ties, non-dividing line ties. So who knows how it ends up. There could potentially be a lot. They could be in for a long one, for production for all of our admins out there. For Mr. Dougie, who's also saying, oh, there's so and so chance. He said, I believe a 4% chance that no tiebreakers happen for Group A, so a 96% chance that tiebreakers happen for Group A, and around a
Right.
40% chance that they don't happen for Group B. So Group B, again, a little bit more open to resolving itself. Group A, no matter what happens, you're bound to have a couple of ties here.
Okay. To hear, see exactly what kind of ties we do have a bit later on. Of course, we have to get through these final official series first before we can talk about any kind of tiebreaker, I suppose. And again, for these teams that are left, at least for Group A, again, 9Pandas are going to be up against Team Spirit. Right now, Team Spirit is sitting in second place, 9Pandas sitting in third place. So if 9Pandas could take out this series 2-0 against Team Spirit, then they would overtake to take that second place from Team Spirit away. Both of them obviously just fighting to get through to the playoffs right now because Quest has already secured first place in Group A. So that first place spot is not up for grabs. You're generally just fighting for second and third place. Thing is, though, they are also fighting, I suppose, to not get knocked down to the danger zone, I suppose, to the lower bracket, because you still have teams like Gaming Gladiators trying to fight to make their way up. PSG LGD are tied in third place with Gaiman and 9Pandas right now in Group A, so I suppose in some sense it's probably more important for 9Pandas to secure at least a draw here to give themselves a good chance of being able to get straight through to the upper bracket. But there's just so many things that could happen. So it's a bit hard to predict. We're literally just going to have to wait and see how all these series result before we can outright say there is going to be a tiebreak. And still, we do have a draft for Game 1. That's what's important. Team Spirit against 9Pandas. Game 1 draft is now officially underway. Enigma being first banned by Team Spirit, and 9Pandas immediately getting rid of that very popular Snapfire. See if they want to get rid of that Undying hero that we've been seeing a lot of. I think that grab ally in the Tombstone has been proving to be very effective from certain players. Toronto Tokyo, the one yesterday that we kept talking about, but he's not here today in Team Spirit, Jonathan, because he's part of BB team now. But nevertheless, I'm sure Undying will still be a highly contested hero, and it does get banned out.
They were talking about this in the lobby as well. They were saying to ban the Undying and ban the Trimmersaw. So they had a bit of an agreement between both sides, and well, they do manage to take it out. That does leave the Broodmother here for 9Pandas, and they will pick it up. We have seen Kiyotaka play that mid. More likely as well for Miara to play it offlane, so pretty open depending on the matchups here for the side of 9Pandas. Team Spirit, they've got a lot that they can open up here as well. I should start with something stable and support. They prioritize something like 4. We'll go with the Storm, so maybe expecting something like a Brood mid. Storm Spirit doesn't mind that matchup as much. You can always harass back when the Brood does come in. You don't care too much about the mischance. As long as you have your remnants to spam out, you should still be fine with the Silicon Bola spam if they are expecting a Kiyotaka mid. And mind you, these two teams, they've played against each other multiple times in DPC. They understand what each side wants to do. Yeah, but all that lobby chatter on the agreed upon bans, Mike, the gentleman's agreement was met with the Undying. They'll probably realize Kiyotaka's gunning for the mid brood. Again, like, we normally see it offlane, a very rare chance for it's safe, but for 9Pandas in particular, it's been nothing but Kiyotaka playing that brood whenever they get to pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just wondering now if Team Spirit want to combo the Storm with a Coddle, for example, that we tend to see a lot of now. Still have the Pugna, but that hasn't been quite as popular as it used to be. I'd say the Keeper of the Light has been much more popular with the Storm as of late, and it is still available for Spirit if they want to take it. Coddle, not so bad against the Brood either. Like, just having that D push is always going to be nice. And they are actually going to go down the Tiny route for Team Spirit, which is a hero that I can't quite say I was expecting to see here today.
Yeah, it's faded a little bit away. Should be Mira picking that up, of course, on his rotating support. It's not been the most popular, but it does have a lot of good impact here just against a Broodmother. If you're expecting to have to care about Spiderlings, it's great. It's got still good burst damage potential coming in. It gives another initiation angle for the side of Team Spirit to play around outside of just your Storm, so you can kind of set up with your tiny Avalanche Toss first. Once you do have your mobility on hand, the Pandas into the Miero Doom very early on, understanding that it's a likely ban as the game develops. And we've watched Miero over the course of pretty much every major, every Dream League. He's played so much Doom, and he's had so many good performances. He's had a lot of rough starts on the Doom, but it's always there for him. And it's just the bedrock of 9Pandas. They've always got this stable Doom offlane to depend on. They've got this tempo coming up from Kiyotaka. So Miero can just afford to play something that's a little bit lane dominant, but sits back, farms, and just builds up to be a force to be reckoned with. The Doom in this game as well, lots of utility up against the Storm. The Ags buildup's gonna feel pretty damn good. As the Storm Spirit in this game, you have to worry about the Orchid. You have to worry about the Doom itself. So straight up Lincoln's doesn't necessarily save you as long as these two heroes from 9Pandas play together, their itemization. So you're going to have to find some ways to protect from the jump in here from 9Pandas once the farm is up.
We'll see how they do try to do that. I'm kind of wondering if Miero ever gets bored of playing Doom. You know, just every second game we see this guy on Doom, it's like, does he ever get bored of it? I wonder. It's one of those heroes, I guess. It's probably just fun for him to just devour creeps and just always have a high net worth. It must feel nice for these offlaners. The Team Spirit. They ban out the Jug. Obviously, the Naga Siren was removed by 9Pandas. They'll also get rid of the Alchemist. The position ones are the focus of both sides, it seems, right now. 9Pandas. Maybe one more pos one to get banned out before we do continue with these drafts.
Something like the Bloodseeker still available for both ends. I think a Yatora Bloodseeker into a Brood is pretty alright. Bloodseeker Doom lane, maybe a little bit rougher for the BS, but and somewhat self-sustainable once you have the levels and turst up. Could be something that 9Pandas considers. Just a little bit stronger for Yatoro, has some good tempo. You've got some silly toss back plays that can get done with Rupture as well. I wouldn't mind something like the Doom being taken out. I love the respect from Team Spirit, just taking care of Ramsey's favorite heroes in the Alk and the Jug. And they will take care of the PL here on 9Pandas end. So, not going to be looking for that Bloodseeker ban, again available for both sides, unless Team Spirit wants to ban it out.
We'll see.
10 seconds remaining.
A bit more of a think about this final ban out, Team Spirit.
5 seconds remaining.
Is it just me, or does it feel like the safe lane pool of heroes is just too small these days?
It does.
It's starting to feel like that, isn't it? Because every other position just feels like it has unlimited picks. But then you go to position 1, like it feels like we're just rotating the same heroes around every meta, almost.
Yeah, it does feel that. I think it's down to just, I don't know, like universal heroes on the safe lane have kind of died out, but they're still kind of there on mid and off lane. Like they're viable tempo cores that scale really well into late. And I don't know, it's just kind of awkward. You know, you've been calling for a while, but it would be nice to get a new pause 1 safe lane as your new hero someday.
Maybe a couple.
Although,
state.
yeah, that's Muerta somewhat is, but we don't see too much of that hero. And here's a hero we don't see too much of. Team Spirit do pick up the Ancient Apparition. I know they've picked this one up a couple of times, then it can set some pretty good tempo. It's a great way of shutting down high regen cores, like say the Broodmother who wants to sustain through a fight. The blast just kills spiders. Very good solution in real life as well, Mike. And that cold. So, good answers overall from Team Spirit here.
It is, and the AA tiny combo is always nice because you can just blow somebody up across the map. Even the Storm plays off it pretty well. 9Pandas not going to care so much about it. They'll just go straight into the Lycan. It's kind of one of those things, right? Like you see a squishy support like AA and you're just like, yeah, just give me Lycan. I'll just chase him down with all my units. In fact, you look at this draft, what is even happening?
Yeah. I feel like we're seeing the Ramses Pos 1 Doom come out here.
Right.
And Miera plays the offlane Lycan. That has been how 9Pandas tends to flex. I don't think we'll see Ramses playing the Lycan anytime soon. It's a little bit too tempo. You know, Ramses kind of likes to sit back and build up. The Doom is much more in line with his playstyle here. Doom Pos 1, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can rush into your Ags Octarine pretty nicely after your Midas and all of that stuff. Ramses loves AFK farming anyway, as we've seen before. So you can just sit back and build up. Expect that tempo to come out from Miero and the Brood and Kiyotaka. An Ags build up for the Lycan here sounds pretty funny. A Wolf Spider is a pretty nice combination to have. Certainly not in the Doom, although I suppose the move speed is useful on Doom, but Wolf Spider with Insatiable Hunger sounds pretty busted, if you can get that done. Mind you, all of your cores do kind of get destroyed by AA if you do group up for the blast. So again, the utility is there from Team Spirit. And they go into the Sven, which is one way to help protect your backline. We've seen a lot of teams with physical lineups struggle up against the Sven once you have your Shard and some auras up. Just your Shard plus active Warcry means that no one's going to be dying that quick from the Brood and Lycan Burst. So even though 9Pandas loves to fall back with Ramses and farm up here, it doesn't feel like they should try to tempt the late game fight here. Just, you're scaling physically on Brood and Lycan. You're up against AA. Your sustain lineup with Lycan and Brood's durability is just not going to kick into gear. And your Sven will keep everyone alive on Team Spirit's end if this game drags on.
It certainly will. I'm very curious to see how 9Pandas want to finish off this draft. Team Spirit, final bans to come. Darkseer was removed by 9Pandas to start. Team Spirit will have a bit of a think about their own banouts now. Yeah, I mean, Ramses Doom, if that's the case, I'm not sure how confident I feel about this. I think I'd almost rather just see a POS 1 Lycan at this stage than the POS 1 Doom, but we'll see if it does go down that route. I know Ramses has played the POS 1 Doom quite a few times, and it seems like Team Spirit are going to believe perhaps a mid pickup is left here for 9Pandas. They get rid of the puck now. Could also assume a POS 4 Doom, for example, right? Like, if they threw offlane Brood and, say, safe lane Lycan, this could be a position 4 Doom to come out. I think that's still possible as well.
And that is a possibility. It doesn't fill me with any more confidence than the POS 1 Doom. At the very least, I can see this tri-core still working tempo-wise. And again, Ramses just gets to play his playstyle. You're not pressured to drag Ramses in. We've seen some games where Ramses on a jug, like, gets Battle Fury Yasha and is forced to join his team. And it just feels really awkward to throw him off from his farming tempo because he's not ready. But the team feels like they need more damage. I'd be much happier for 9Pandas end if they can just default back to having Ramses do what he needs to do and build into the itemization and levels first. So, yeah, I mean, support Doom's a possibility, but I don't know, like, that lane can be alright. It's a double melee lane into the Sven, so your Stormhammer's gonna feel pretty good to cut you off, though. If you will run something like the Miero Brood, but again, Kiyotaka's been playing that a lot in this tournament. I don't see them flexing it, honestly. I think the most straightforward read is probably what they're gunning for, but Team Spirit's just respecting some flex, ensuring that nothing sneaky comes through. If you run the Doom support, with these two cores, it feels really greedy as well. Like, yes, you can still set tempo with Brood and Lycan, but the Doom support's going to need to fall back and farm as well. And then you have potentially another core coming out for the Pandas. It's just a little bit slow. Like, Spirit will enjoy that space much more. If this Sven goes unchecked, it just becomes a huge issue for your physical output, unless you manage to nail him on the Doom every time. But if you Doom the Sven, then the Storm's not going to care. And even if you Doom the Sven, as long as he has God Strength already up, he doesn't really care. So it's not the most straightforward way. There's a lot of pressure here on our Disruptor to just kind of hold back. For Solo to get a good wall off, have a lot of impact pre-BKB to pressure that Sven in some early fights. And it does mean 9Pandas will have to, again, play a little bit more up-tempo. Have yourself a pause 4 in the last pick that can fit that tempo, and just sit back and hope that Doom hits an earlier timing and comes in early.
Well, final ban to come from Team Spirit. 15 seconds reserve time left to think about this one.
Dire team pick.
They will ban out the TB. Just kind of ticking all the boxes here just in case. 9Pandas, let's see what they do. Like, if this is going to be a weird pos 1 Doom, I don't know if I can say I believe in it. I feel like I'd confidently say I do not. 9Pandas, again, fighting for their position in the upper bracket of the playoffs through the group stages, currently sitting in 3rd place. Very important they result well here against Team Spirit. Not too much time left, and it's gonna be a Night Stalker coming out from 9Pandas. Hold on a goddamn minute. You know what, Jonathan? I like this draft. I like it. You know, it takes me back. It takes me back to my old days. This is the kind of draft I'd love to run. The cheesiest of drafts.
This feels like a pub draft of 4 people who don't want to play support. So likely we're getting an Antares Doom here. A Ramses Night Stalker or a Miero Night Stalker with a Lycan kind of flexing position. Kiyotaka set on the Broodmother mid. Team Spirit, they'll just close out with the Axe, and that is a great solution to this lineup. You have 4 melee cores here, Mike.
Oh, you do too.
You have the Broodlings that will attack. You have the Shard for Collapse that removes the cooldown on the Helix, so you keep attacking him with those Broodlings. Guess what? He will spin to win. This is... Alright, Miero, Lycan, Ramses, safely Night Stalker. There's some good tempo you can hit, right? Like, what 9Pandas needs to do is hit this tempo by, say, first nighttime, I think is really important. Even though it's a safe lane Night Stalker, you kind of want to group up. Hope you're close to your 5 and 6s on your cores by, say, 8 minutes in, and go for a push. Go for push, deny map space away from Team Spirit. You can make it so that the Axe will feel like it's going to be leeching off the Sven's farm. They're going to be sharing jungle space from the back of a slower laning phase, and you can kind of just choke out the side of Team Spirit with a strong start here for 9Pandas. But if the game drags on, and by any meaningful sense, and the side of Team Spirit are within, I'd say even within 2k gold for the first 15 minutes, and that doesn't grow for 9Pandas, then your scaling into the late game starts to get a little bit shaky. Sure, the support Doom can scale up. You have a little bit of a timer on the Night Stalker. It's a back and forth one. I can see the conditions for both sides being met, but I feel like Team Spirits is a little bit easier to play. The fact that it's 4 melee cores into AA and Axe, Call, Frost Blast is going to be pretty painful. for 9Pandas if they manage to nail that combination right on Team Spirit. So I need to see 9Pandas come out really strong in the lanes. Their laning combinations aren't too bad. Disruptor Night Stalker can play early on. Maybe by first nighttime it starts to feel a bit better, but you can at least allow Ramsey to just farm up. I think your lanes on Team Spirit are also pretty decent. AA plus Sven lane is pretty painful. Ice Vortex, Cold Feet, into Stormhammer, you're pretty much almost guaranteed to kill, even up against a tanky offlane duo like that. So a lot banking on these lanes. Really interesting drafts should lead to a pretty fun game, but I would lean slightly towards Team Spirit. I'm just terrified of this Call plus Blast combination. I don't think you survive that.
It's going to be a very interesting game. Let's get into it though. Game number 1 between 9Pandas and Team Spirit. See who does pull this one off. Is the position 1 Night Stalker going to be enough this game from Ramses is my big question. I mean, I think it's actually a really nice Night Stalker pos 1 game. It maybe if it wasn't for the Axe. The Axe does put a bit of a spanner in the works here, but we'll see. Again, game 1 is now officially underway, so we'll head over to that. Seems like Team Spirit are going to run right down towards the bottom lane to see if they can set up something straight off the bat. Something you wouldn't quite expect. They'll go right towards the Twin Gates. Oh, there is Antares moving to that area. Yatoro barely going to miss out on seeing him for now, though they might see him very soon with the Watcher being taken. Antares reveal his position, but they will not be able to catch him. So he's going to be just fine.
A little bit of info.
Yeah, but just a bit of Twin Gates usage. This pos 1 Night Stalker, like, he's got no regen. To be fair, Night Stalker has a hell of a lot of base regen. No, level 1 sitting at 4.9, but against the Axe, I just wonder how much pressure Collapse can apply to this guy.
First level shouldn't be too bad. Axe really starts to shine maybe by level 2, level 3, but level 1's not really the best for Axe. Got a good glimpse off onto Mira.
Collapse going to try and fight for the bounty. Won't be able to get it, and now a lot of harassment to be taken by Collapse. Does have double ring of protection, but is still taking a hell of a lot of damage here from Ramses and Solo. Mira will at least kind of return the favor towards Solo, but that is just a position 5 disruptor with 6 tangos anyway. Well, Solo will be just fine with that. Like now, Mira's going to take a hell of a lot of damage on the way out. Glimpse is there. They won't chase. No point. There's a creep wave coming. Ramses just wants the creeps. Let's see how this top lane does start. I mean, Ramses and Solo again against Collapse and Mira. You arguably should be somewhat Axe favored as the time goes on, as the levels do come up. But for now, at the early stages, it does feel like Ramses should be able to get off to a pretty decent start.
Yeah, first 2 levels are pretty good for the Night Stalker. Axe is a bit of a slow starter. Double melee lane into Disruptor is also mildly annoying. Solo already getting a lot out from his level 1 Glimpse. You should be able to just maintain distance, harass out, buy some space for Ramses, and really stall out until first nighttime. That's around the point you get the levels as well for the Axe to start to get really annoying, but you can start to fight back a little bit more on Ramses as well. And the top lane should be the most farm stable lane, unless Mira can somehow land a good avalanche or toss back into a call. But that's still, again, like a level 3 timing we're looking for here.
He comes back by Ramses. He did have the Void to throw out, but doesn't bother. Just wants the harassment for now. What's down in middle lane, Kiyotaka's against Lal on the Storm. Lal's having a very good time so far in the Storm. Not really too much Kiyotaka can get done at the moment. Plus, at these earlier levels, Lal wants to apply as much pressure as possible, and that is exactly what he will do. Kiyotaka not bothering for the insatiable hunger yet. Seems like he wants to just avoid Lal and just secure his own farm.
Yeah, the early levels feel really good for the Storm. Can melee matchup, you get to use your Static Remnant to its fullest. You don't care too much for the Silken Bola. You should be fairly free on the Storm to just farm up. Laurel already showing that off. Down bot, it was a little bit funny. Antares is just pulling the wave and devouring and scorched everything it down. He's actually getting a lot more farm in this Doom than you'd probably expect, getting full creep wave for himself with no contest. They understand how strong Team Spirit can be down bot. Once you have a value point in Cold Feet, with a good stun like Stormhammer, it's not too hard to try to run down. Granted, these are highly durable heroes on the side of 9Pandas, but without any value point just yet in Feral Impulse, it is a little bit harder to sustain through. So they just don't look to play aggressive, play the farm game. And Team Spirit can't really fully punish these 2 heroes farming up together like that.
They certainly cannot. Not yet, anyway. I wish they would buff AA a little bit. Like this hero, like just right clicks towards Mira. Look at him just do no damage. I mean, to be fair, I guess he was aiming the wolf that time. I'm a bit blind, but it just feels like the AA doesn't hit hard enough. Like I know you've got chilling touch, and I know you can do a hell of a lot of magic damage. Like they're gonna try now. You see Miero, like he gets frozen, but just feels like he's not threatened at all by Mamposhka. He gets just chased down by wolves.
It's a little bit strange because AA does do a lot of damage as the game scales on.
Right.
You asking for damage buffs, I think, will send some chills to people who have seen the super carry AA goes Ags Midas Ags in that order, and becomes like an ultra sniper. So you wouldn't want those buffs, Mike. Be careful what you wish for.
That's fair. That's fair. I was gonna say turn him into Universal Hero Jump, but I suppose that's off the menu now.
Oh, you're a sick man. If this was Universal, Snapfire would be dead in water. This would be hero you go for. Done.
It's not Universal, John. It is not Universal.
Thank God,
Don't you
man.
worry.
I want that.
Not yet.
And please, no, never, please. It would be a nightmare. It's like a Necrophos sniper combination on steroids. You would not want that in any game. Instant ban every single time in my pubs. Just get out.
I thought Lau was about to be in a bit of trouble, but Yutaka not bothering for the chase, but can secure the other water room. The mid-storm not going to be able to fill up the bottle this time around, because they were both taken by 9Pandas. You're at the stage where Kiyotaka doesn't really care as much about the storm, as top lane is where the first kill happens, apparently. Solo going down here to Mirror, getting caught with his pants down and disrupted just a little bit, and now Collapse going to really start to try and apply pressure to Ramses. And this is probably around the stage where you've got to be very cautious to the Night Stalker. You've got level 2 counter Helix up, you've got the toss back place from Mirror. You get too close, you probably are just going to die. Especially when Collapse hits level 4, he'll have the Berserker's Call up, and that's where things get very, very dangerous.
And it does. Already has the casual Ring of Felt as well, so you're not going to be able to poke Collapse out of the lane. And the Vanguard's not too off the timing. So, you know, first 2 levels again go pretty well for the Pandas, but at this point, this is where you have to respect that relocating potential with the toss. If you go too far forward into level 4, it gets scary.
Oh, here comes a Poshka from the rear. He comes in. Solo does get frozen. Mira, though, still going to be targeted and still is in pretty big trouble. Will go down. Now the glimpse back. Antares providing the vision. The Maposhka will get caught another time. And they will ensure that Ramses takes both kills on the Night Stalker. That's very nice timing too. Nighttime hits and they just rotate and make these double kills happen.
It's a little bit surprising they forced that issue so hard onto Solo. Collapse is way too far out to help. And he just wants the Vanguard up before going through these deep dives, so... A lot of commitment out from Team Spirit. Maybe just getting a little bit excited to try to shove it back towards 9Pandas, but they do get punished nicely. Ramsey's going to be tanking his supports for allowing him to last hit. And now, down mid.
A bit of a dive in from Kiyotaka and Antares, but not really amounting to too much as Mira was there to back him up. You can see the confidence starting to build up though on 9Pandas, and this is one of the drafts from 9Pandas where you do want to get off to an early start. So I imagine the pressure will want to be applied pretty early after the laning stage. You are still up against the Sven, like you don't want to drag the game out too far. Sure, we're not at that stage yet where 9Pandas are ready to start applying too much pressure, but I imagine at this stage it's going to start ramping up quite a bit. Top lane, pretty big group up here. 6 heroes up at the top lane at the moment. Team Spirit not going to end up trying to go for Antares, who was chasing them down. They just want to make sure Collapse does remain safe. Ramses, though, he's getting some pretty damn good farm. So move in. Collapse, he's been left behind. They were there just a second ago, but because the Wisdom Runes are spawning, they go to get the Wisdom Runes instead. And 9Pandas, they will just take his life.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Just punish. Napasha goes for the stacks as well, trying to get some build up. And the early aggression from 9Pandas starting to take shape. And this lineup can go up to a really fast start. Miera's been given a lot of room as well to just build up on this Lycan, so he should have that Dominator relatively soon. Yatoro in the solo farming lane is still working pretty damn well.
Yotaka, a lot of damage being dealt to the Spider. Is frozen up here by the cold feet, though surviving a little bit longer. Kiyotaka, he's gonna make it. Lol, he's pretty low on mana. He's got enough to zip back towards the tier 1, I think. But but they are chasing him down, desperately trying to secure a kill. They will not get it, but they protect Kiyotaka, who I could have sworn was just guaranteed to die. But not quite. The one charges were enough to keep him alive.
And it's a on-point kinetic field from Solo, right on the edge as to where Lol was trying to zip in, so he couldn't get the auto attack. Try to hope for the best. And 9Pandas can just starting to apply that map pressure. Look at Kiyotaka. Sees the stacks, can start to invade. Instead looks for the full rotation up top. Collapse is pretty far forward here.
I mean, he won't bother bringing the Spiderlings in. Oh, he does now, but not really the biggest deal is Kiyotaka. Not going to be able to take down Collapse, who just calls and walks away. I think he needed a bit more backup. Like, Kiyotaka wants to play off the double damage rune that he has, but needs maybe a little bit of lockdown on Collapse apart from the Silken Bowler. Instead, looks like he'll just take some stacks away from the Radiant Triangle on his own. Or just abusing the double damage, and he's going to be able to get away with it. It seems like Team Spirit do not have what it takes to respond to this.
Oh? Yatoro?
Well, chase is on. They've got the spin. Grimsback is going to be there. Yatoro, trapped between a rock and a hard place, has no way out, so he'll just farm the camp instead. Yatoro, still being chased, is going to drop. No chance of survival. No rotations incoming. 9Pandas, 9 minutes in. So aggressive on their end of things, and I don't think there's any need for them to slow down with a draft like this.
Certainly not. They have to keep it up tempo. The moment you start to give space away to Team Spirit, the moment you fall back and try to just play a farming game, the Sven starts to feel really happy. The Axe starts to hit some big timings. Collapse does manage to secure himself the Ancient stacks here. You will get that blink timing on your Axe relatively soon, considering the laning start you've seen. But you're still in command on 9Pandas. Again, you want this to happen. You've got the Lycan, you've got the Brood. You've got this early tempo coming out from a Night Stalker core as well. You can start to apply a lot of laning pressure, invade the jungle. Once you start to clear out more of these tier 1s, particularly mid, you can take over that bot jungle entirely, and it starts to feel really starved. We talked about this in draft, but you've got Axe and Sven. You can start to feel like they're both kind of creeping up to each other's camps and stalling each other's farm just by virtue of both of them needing a lot of build-up for the mid-game here.
Mid lane. Group up again. 9Pandas. Looking into that mid-tier 1 tower. On to Maposhka. Maposhka going to go down very quickly, but Lal is protecting by taking down the Spiderlings. Water takes out on Kiyotaka. Avalanche as well. They'll commit the Doom onto Lal. Suarez cannot chase on his own. But they are creating space for Kiyotaka to get started onto the mid-tier 1 tower. But here comes Yatoro now, onto Solo. He does get the glimpse away on the Sven. Mirror chasing now is to boot. But they aren't going to catch Solo. He is fine. Pretty messy kind of engagement between these two teams. It won't amount to a tier 1 tower either. The 9Pandas not really going to get anything out of that Doom committal. In fact, Kiyotaka going to get caught and is just probably as good as dead. With the Ice Blast now, they've certainly got enough damage. Kiyotaka maybe just getting a little bit too confident, assuming Maposhka would not have the level 6, but he did.
That's why he was camping so far forward on mid. Just wanted the EXP. And now they've got their kill potential lined up here on Team Spirit. They can punish any sort of overextensions out from 9Pandas. The Pandas still maintain that lead. They need to clear these objectives. There's a lot of space coming out for Collapse. Blink Dagger already flying out for him in a few hundred gold. And they've got room to just control top. While, you know, all of that action does mean Yatoro gets some more room down bot. Once this Sven reaches Echo Saber BKB, a lot of your issues in Titan do disappear here for Team Spirit.
Top lane, Collapse. Will be chased down, TP away. He might actually make it out of this, and he does. No way to cancel. 9Pandas will go for a chase on the Mirror instead. Mirror, I mean, he's gonna die. But he won't mind. I mean, Collapse just getting out of that and picking up his Blink Dagger is going to feel really good. Because now he can reinitiate. Because they're diving on Maposhka, who gets the Ice Blast off and still gets away. Like, no, he does die to the Wolves, but the chase is on. Lol, he wants a kill. That's a great call from Collapse. He's going to find one. They're going to find a second. Miro down a boot. And that's something they just were not expecting. The reinitiation with the blink out from Collapse. But it does pay off.
pays off massively. Even Yatoro showing up to help the cause with the last bits of his god strength there. Should be able to shove in that top tier 1. Then with that space, Kiyotaka was trying to shove in mid, and he's not able to fully commit. Tower's still relatively healthy. So your map control isn't being really dropped here from the side of Team Spirit. In fact,
rather Radiant jungle, lol. Trying to get aggressive. Kiyotaka's going to be okay to walk out of there. Pretty hard to catch the Brood Mother. If you are Team Spirit, like you've brought this draft of 9Pandas down to a crawl almost after that last fight. One of the things with these kind of aggressive drafts is one bad team fight can kind of put a stop to everything. That's kind of where it feels like we're at now. Like you're stuck trying to get some farm going on your side of things as 9Pandas. Because Ramses went for the very early Midas pickup on the Night Stalker, so now he's working towards an MKB. Trying to keep up with the Sven, who is just ahead of him at the moment.
Yeah.
Toro working towards his own BKB now.
Yeah, they just need these mass BKBs on 9Pandas. That's the next key timing for them, outside of that early spike from middle of the laning phase into early mid-game. The BKB timings are key. If they can manage to utilize these BKBs, start to pin down, say, Laurel in these fights, start to punish Collapse when he's trying to go for these calls, you start to feel a little bit tighter, but you have to be careful until that point.
Vortex out, they've got the Broodmother again. Ice Blast gonna land to boot. Kiyotaka, he's got no way to heal up. He's just dead. Even Solo was trying to help out, but now he's a sitting duck. Glimpse at least lull back, but the chase is on. Collapse, can he get him? It seems like they can. No dunk, but it won't matter. They'll get 2 for their trouble. And suddenly Team Spirit, they're looking towards the mid-tier 1. Not.
They can just melt through the objectives. Yatoro shows up, secures that kill for himself as well with a Stormhammer, and is getting a lot of early activity on the Sven that you might not expect. But they are committing so much on the initial jumps from Team Spirit on 9Pandas that there's no utility left to kite the Sven with this kind of playstyle coming out from Team Spirit with their tier 1s intact. They're really utilizing the reach they have with these TP points on hand. In Team Spirit and 9Pandas, and they've defaulted back into a little bit more of a farm game. These BKBs have to pay off. If they can start to group up around these initial BKB timings and start to take these fights on their own terms, then that's where they can start to retake map control, start to apply even more pressure forward, take out these tier 1s, take out these TP points, and try to choke out Spirit. But with just the mid-game items coming out here from Spirit, it doesn't feel like you're not that concerned about, say, dropping your mid-tier 1 at this point. You just haven't been able to fully invade the way you'd want to here with Kiyotaka. Still clearing out that bot jungle, but you still have a lot of reach up top. You have a lot of reach on your side lane camps as well. No forward vision just yet from Pandas, although they will plant one now down bot to help track. It's just, you've already gotten your value here for Team Spirit. Full Blade Mail up for Collapse, going for the Shard next. So removing that internal cooldown on the counter Helix is going to be massive. And it just, again, it gets tougher. These teamfight combinations from Team Spirit are, it's just so simple. When you're up against 4 melee heroes, how can it not be simple for an axe?
True. It's the big power spike for Collapse. Always feels pretty amazing when you've got the Blink Blade Mail Vanguard this early. Around the timing, you want to smoke up and just go. Bottom lane, he might have his opportunity to fight soon as well, because 9Pandas are starting to pressure the tier 2 bottom tower. Nobody's actually tried to defend this yet from Team Spirit. So it might go the way of 9Pandas for free. Like, they're just letting the dragon do the work. Top lane, Team Spirit are going to group up, but you've got Kiyotaka defending. Collapse decides better of it. He's going to keep farming on this axe. And so the tier 2 bottom tower will go the way of 9Pandas for free. They do now have the BKB up on Yatoro though, so they might want to go together now. They will group up in the mid-tier 1, but the problem is, well, 9Pandas, they've already smoked up. They're going through the twin gates. Seems like 9Pandas is the one that wants to try and set up, but mid lane, Ramses, by himself, will back off at the right moment. Not going to get caught by Spirit.
Good space being made. They can invade Roshan here on side of Pandas. Might not be the quickest process, but Nero will get to work by himself with ice armor up from Arjun, just to provide a little bit more durability here as well. and the rest of 9Pandas will start to play around that area. Team Spirit should know something's up. I mean, if they had a good read on this, and they do have some good forward wards to maybe spot a rotation, but they don't walk by that part of the lane. If they saw this Roche, you know they'd be lining up for that call and the blast. They just need to get there.
I mean, they are around the area, Spirit. They have a couple heroes here, but it doesn't seem like they're very well aware that Roshan's actually happening. Or they're just not interested in trying to contest this. Roshan will go the way of 9Pandas for free. The Aegis has been left on the deck. Kiyotaka will go pick it up. Thankfully, he didn't forget. They've got the spider with the Aegis now. Not sure how confident 9Pandas feel as the game drags out. Like, we're only 18 minutes into the game, and it seems like they are still gonna be quite aggressive towards these objectives. But Team Spirit look very relaxed in a game like this. They're just seemingly more than happy sitting back and just farming. Though I say that bottom lane, Ramsey's currently being watched by Yatoro. With the Ice Blast follow-up from Aposhka, which is now available, they might just dive in. Yatoro could probably just get this done on his own. But Ramsey's, he's gonna see him. Still sticking around confidently, though. Meanwhile, Radiant Triangle. Mirror's going to be spotted by Antares. In the mid lane, T1 Tower's going to go down. Antares, well, they will get the glimpse on Mirror, but he still manages to just walk away. Immediate smoke by 9Pandas. They don't want to let up on the aggressions. Into the mid lane they go. Who have they got? Yatora, he's been found out. That's the big one. He's got a BKB, though. He'll turn around, but the Doom is out immediately, and he can't get the damage off. Oh boy. Well, that's your Sven BKB being used up immediately, and just him going down as Maposh is getting dived by dragons at the moment. He will get deleted. The 9Pandas, understanding their own timings, play this perfectly so far. It's Kiyotaka now diving in onto Mirror, wanting another one for himself. The thing is, there's just so many units running at you constantly. These supports from Spirit, they just can't survive when the chase is on.
Your big issue in Spirit is that Collapse was farming top without a TP. If you had your Axe here with a call, and that might have been able to turn the fight. Sure, Aegis on Brood is pretty scary. In a way, Brood is a transformation hero, reliant on insatiable hunger for these prolonged fights. It's something you can kind of work around. But no TP on Collapse means that he's not able to join in. They get good punishment. They grow the lead to 6k at 6 to 9. At 20 minutes in, their timings are online here.
Collapse, he's looking to go in now. He's maybe lacking a bit of vision. Comes back onto Collapse anyway, which will reveal the ward position, but I believe Mirror had already found it. It's just Spirit need to really group up at this stage, it seems, but it looks like they're going to go back to the drawing board and get back to the farming game for now. 6k advantage for 9Pandas, but definitely still a decently even game. Like right now, win probability sitting at 53% for 9Pandas. So not really too much higher than Spirit anyway. Basically just 50-50. They are collapsing into the bottom lane. Kiyotaka's going to run right into Collapse and Mirror. Spiderlings will give the vision. Collapse won't mind the Spiderlings too much. Meanwhile, though, Antares jumping in on Lal, but doesn't have the Doom to follow up with. But look at Maposhka. He's just melting to the units. He can't survive it. He's down. The helm of the Overlord units, and now Collapse will follow. They just don't have the follow-up. They don't have the damage. They don't have anything right now, Spirit. They can't fight 9Pandas. Like, you saw Maposhka. He shows for a second. And then he just gets swarmed by spiders and helm of the Overlord units.
They can't show like this on the side of Team Spirit. Like, you have to protect that A in the back. You are very reliant on the blast. You need Collapse to find these angles with the blink and call. Just not able to with how fast 9Pandas moves around. And onto that straightforward siege with a creep army that doesn't take too long to the tier 3. Lots of damage done already.
Kiyotaka. Back off, he'll play it safe. The tier 3 tower basically already dead anyway. We'll leave the Thunderhide to do the work as... Oh, one hit away. That siege creep will do it. It's okay. They get it. We'll take the outpost while they're there. Radiant outpost to go the way of 9Pandas. Again, I don't think Spirit are anywhere near out of this yet, but they need a good team. Because right now, it just feels like it's been 10 minutes or so since we've seen a good team fight come out from Spirit. Where they've been able to group up and just wipe the side of 9Pandas or even find some good pickoffs. for now, it just feels like they're just getting kited around.
They need BKBs. Like, Collapse needs to have some protection here up against that Static Storm. He can get the biggest blink call of his life, but if you're Static Stormed, it doesn't matter. No one's going to be able to follow up on you. You're not going to be able to try to kite them back. No Calling Blades, instant burst downs here as well. So you need that protection up for your axe, not just the Storm, not just the Sven. Even your Storm is going to be under danger. Like, there's a lot of value in just dooming the most mobile hero here for Antares, and he's got his blink ready. Ooh, that doom. Gonna smoke up in 9Pandas, but so will Team Spirit.
They will reveal themselves in the mid lane on the creep wave. Yutaka now really showing himself. Spirit. I mean, they're holding onto the high ground of that Radiant Triangle underneath their vision, but the Wolves are around trying to get vision for the Dire. So if the smoke wears off, they're going to see exactly where Lala and Yatoro are. Antares moving in, gets a gem off, sees the ward and immediately backs out of there. He knows they're waiting. In come the Spiderlings now to try and deal with that ward, but they are deleted immediately by Lal. Again, that'll reveal the position of Spirit. 9Pandas not happy with the position to fight, they just leave. You know, you've got no vision. You know Spirit are waiting, so just what better to do than just run and come back another day?
You've got total map control anyway. Yutaka is stealing away a lot of camps. They're gonna have to get that item build up here on the side of Team Spirit. You need more damage on Yatoro. You need that crit up and running. You really still need that BKB on Collapse, and he's still a ways off from that.
Look at the Spiderlings are just chasing Maposhka. Across the map, he has to Glimmer Cape and walk back to the fountain. Or just the base for now, I guess, but he gets so scared. Like, you see one or two Spiderlings and he just starts running. Like, he knows he might be in danger.
He has no...
What a sad life.
And the AA just has pretty miserable move speed, 330 with the boots. So, really do have to bail out once you see anything running at you. The AA, really a very backline support. It's not able to soak up even creep wave, which is a shame because level 2 Ice Blast would be massive here.
What is it with the ice heroes and having terrible movement speed?
Ice slows you down, Mike. You know?
Is that just thematic? I mean, ice usually in real life speeds you up if you think about it. You
but
can
you're
go a lot faster
to slow
on ice.
down on ice, you know? You're
I appreciate that, John, but if you were an ice entity, right? Like, if you were literally made of ice, theoretically, you wouldn't need to slow down, would you?
Well, if you were melting ice, sure. Just a solid brick of ice, a theoretical block of ice that isn't melting, it would be fairly slow to drag along anywhere, Mikey. Theoretically, without the liquid underneath, right?
I'm just saying, you think they'd be able to slide?
No. Mike. This is the rule, alright? Blue is slow, red is fast. That's why we have gamer RGB options, Mike. You turn your RGBs to red.
But if you go to a traffic light, John, red means you stop.
Stop because you're going too fast.
Oh. Alright, well, bot Rax is going down very fast here, John. Team Spirit, they need to try and address this. They're going to try, but they have popped the nighttime. Ramsey's moving right in, has found Mirror. That's your tiny gone. With the Dark Ascension, it's very hard to hide now as Spirit as Yatoro. He's going to jump in with the Golden String, trying to get something done, but the Doom is out from Antares. He cannot make it out. It seems Yatoro, no, he will barely make it. Running towards the fountain, he will survive on 200 HP. Can they keep the fight going? Mirror will die a second time. They have only found Solo. I suppose the one big positive is Yatoro makes it out. Problem is, he won't have God Strength now. If they wanted to try for high ground again, they probably could, 9Pandas. But they'll play it safe, they'll retreat and come back another day.
That is such an awkward fight for Team Spirit once more. Collapse TP's in, and then instantly blinks backwards because Ramses is scouting out forward with that Dark Ascension. He's not able to just instantly look for this position to get the blink call. They were all clumped around tier 3. No one was there to back up Yatoro on his commitment. The blast comes through, but he managed to dodge out for the most part the damage. You really need to tie in that combination of the AA and Axe here. And 9Pandas are making it really hard for the side of Team Spirit to feel comfy in trying to engage. Like, just because Collapse doesn't have the BKB, it's so much harder for the Axe to try and play this game just yet. 10k lead coming out from 9Pandas, 1 racks up. Both sides grouping up for Roche. Still 20 seconds away. Could be a good flashpoint for the next engagement here.
They've got to try and get something done here, Spirit. They're going to see Solo. Could be a nice way to start. On strength popped immediately by Yatoro. Just no hesitation. I mean, Roshan is up in 10 seconds anyway, so it's a great time to pop it here for Yatoro. assuming they do scout this out ASAP, Wolves will come in to scout the area through the Twin Gates, and they will see Roshan. The 9Pandas still see Roshan before the side of Spirit do. Spirit, they're going to back off without seeing it. They've got to defend this bottom lane. That's a bit of a shame. They may have assumed it just wasn't up.
Team Spirit can't let it go for free. They have got to fight. It's such a constrained area. You've got 4 melee heroes. Collapse should be able to find these calls, but you know, he's the one that's forced back. They still have vision control in the area. They've still got the wards, so they will see when 9Pandas go in for the Roshan. They should have some D-wards ready though, and Solo will get that done for the team. But they should know Rosh is going to be happening. They're still all around roughly the same area. The real key here that needs to be there is just Collapse and Yatoro. I don't think they even need Laurel as long as you get the Ice Blast going from Matoshka. But Rosh has started, you know, side of Team Spirit. They're not running towards that area.
They certainly are not. 9Pandas going to be able to get away with this one for free. Aegis and Cheese now to go the way of 9Pandas. Ice Blast will at least fly in, but that only really helps 9Pandas here. Yataka's not going to be threatened by it whatsoever. Spirit, again, kind of backs against the wall now. 10k disadvantage their way. Needs something good to happen for them. It really does go back to what you've said as well. Like, Collapse is probably the big factor here for Spirit, right? Like, he needs to get in for these big calls. It hasn't quite happened yet. See if he can make it happen down the line. Seems like Collapse actually doing up a Bloodstone now on the axe. Pretty interesting build-up. Wanting to heal through all the damage output through these calls, and he might have an opportunity now, John. Problem is, oh, is he going to jump? The answer is no. Collapse, still sticking around. He's going to find Ramses. That's a great target. They've got the Night Stalker. He's already down. He did not have the buyback or the Aegis up. It's all on Kiyotaka. They'll take down Mirror though, and they even found Collapse. Collapse trying to man up through this one. Yatoro will move in. They've already taken the axe down, and now with the Doom out, Yatoro, he's a bit of a sitting duck. He's gone again. Now the Static Storm locking down the Storm. Oh, it's a full team wipe. I mean, it was a great start. They got the Night Stalker. They took down the POS 1. But 9Pandas still just outplay them in the end.
They do. We managed to get that clutch glimpse off as the BKB fades. Much easier to do now when the BKB is up and running for the Disruptor. And Solo also managed to set up that Static Storm when they come in for Antares. They got all the punishment in the world. It's Team Spirit. They're gonna get mega. Sure, there's no way to stop this. You still have an option for a big call and Ice Blast once more from Matoshka, but we've been waiting for a big one from Collapse. He's been landing solo ones on Ramses. You need everyone there. You need to just go for this big teamfight commitment and hope the cleave from Yatoro is enough, but and these fights have not been opening up the way you'd want them to. Just a weird mix of reservation and aggression from Team Spirit.
Collapse running in for a call attempt, gets hexed immediately. Kiyotaka dropping low, but Mira can't find the toss back. Now in the middle of nowhere, Kiyotaka going for a chase. Mira getting glimpsed back the way of Ramses, which means he is as good as dead. Yatoro is now officially back up, while Mira is getting tipped. While he's in the grave, it's 4v5. They're going to try and defend this. They've popped the God Strength. They'll make the jump in with the Storm. They've got to call out Kiyotaka. He'll die the first time, but that's just the Aegis. Meanwhile, Maposhka will go down, but will buy back as Miero rushing in. Kiyotaka, he's going to back off for now. Ramses, meanwhile, is in wolf form. Here we go. He's morphed. Solo, going to jump in. Solo, I mean, he's the one being targeted, but he's just fine with the Glimmer Cape. And it seems like Spirit, they just still can't find a target. All 5 heroes are up. I forgot we had Morbius here, John. Between the Lycan and the Night Stalker.
A lot of Morbing, and it's online. That's one way to keep the scaling intact here for 9Pandas. Not that they need it. Mega creeps up 10 to 20. Team Spirit, and they're just not able to get these calls. Where it feels like Collapse should be able to jump in, doesn't manage to get it done. When he does jump in, it's a 1 or 2-man call. He needs many more heroes caught up with that Blink BKB call. And it's not lining up. 9Pandas just working the map well, working their positioning well. I say that, but we see a lot of circumstances where 9Pandas are clumped up as 4. and Team Spirit don't make the move. It's just rather strange. It's this weird mix of apprehension and then this urge to go after recognizing that they were a little bit too apprehensive for the move. This back and forth in deciding when to commit and certainly caused a lot of losses for Team Spirit. 9Pandas just on top. Like with Mega creeps up with the scaling coming out on Ramses, with the Wolf Bite coming out from Yarrow, I don't see the side of Team Spirit managing to get enough kills to go into their own objectives. Like, they can still find them, but it's down to Pandas to play pretty ridiculous at this point. Like, without any objectives to clump around, do you really expect these 4 melee heroes to clump up anymore? Probably not. So the big call opportunities for Collapse kind of disappear here.
It's pretty tough. Like, you're up against Megas, you're up against this 9Pandas squad that just has not backed off. Foot's been on the pedal since what feels like the 5-6 minute mark from 9Pandas. Here we go again, though. Goes through the bottom lane. Ramses, he saw the storm. He'll see all the rest of them. Collapse, he'll be in the Glimmer Cape looking for an opportunity to try and make a blink in, but it's not really open. He'll try onto Miero. He's got the Lycan. That'll be one down. Miero is gone, but now Yatoro. He's taking so much damage. He's just dead. No buyback available. They'll buy back on Collapse. They'll try one last time to defend. But how do you do it without your Sven? Untitled again, jumping in on Mira, wants the Tiny. Ramses, maybe going too far, has got him killed off by Collapse. And Collapse has got Kiyotaka. Alright, never mind. Hold on a minute, we've got a defense here. Collapse is on to a triple kill. Could not quite claim the Ultra. But they have defended. What is happening?
It takes 34 minutes, but we finally get the multi-man calls from Collapse. That's all he needed. And just spin to win on top. This didn't need this much time to come online. It's just been a challenge with the decision making from Team Spirit, with the aggression out from 9Pandas. It is a fully naked base though, Mike. There is nothing left here but the Ancient. So you're gonna have to do that again. But at the same time, this works in Collapse's favor, because now there's only one objective that they can plump around for 9Pandas on the high ground. And they've always got to commit their bodies for it for the Ancients. There's still 4 melee heroes, so you can go for that blink call.
This axe might actually start becoming like quite game changing. Like, that axe that he's going to pick up is pretty busted. The cooldown reduction on the call is the big one, because you get down to 8 seconds, and if he builds an Octarine core on top of that, it gets even better. I don't know if he's ever going to get to that stage, but these calls can feel pretty damn dangerous, along with the shards as well, because you take less damage each time he spins. The axe might be game changing here for Spirit. If they can get to that stage. But you've got to...
It's just it's a naked base, man. Like, what's going to stop you from a Wolf Bite into high ground here?
But that's the
that
thing,
will just melt.
I think you require these low cooldowns right now in Collapse. That's what I'm thinking. He has to be the game changer. Because it's not going to be the Storm, and it's not Yatoro either.
Definitely not. He is going back for the Crimson Guard first, and he wants some protection for the backline, which is understandable. But, I don't know, we needed to see these plays way earlier. We did not need to get into Naked Ancient point for Collapse to start popping off, for sure. Like, again, yeah, he's changed it out for the Crimson, as mentioned. So, again, it didn't need to take this long for Team Spirit to kick into gear like this. Like, that Tier 2 dive. That dive through the Tier 2 a while ago, when Collapse didn't have TP, I think that was a missed opportunity. Already had the blink up with a Blade Mail. No BKB, sure, but... you still would have managed to catch a lot of heroes with that deep commitment from 9Pandas. Just no punishment. And then from that point onwards, it's been really defensive from the side of Team Spirit. Again, it's time to play Defense of the Ancients. You know, this is the name of the game. Welcome to the purest form of Dota, as Ice Frog has envisioned. Nothing else. 5 heroes, no other buildings but the Ancient. This is it.
Maybe that's 7.34. Maybe just all towers get removed. Just Ancient. Make a creep straight off the bat.
You know, that sounds like a very fun game. That sounds like a very fun game mode. I would play that over Turbo. It sounds super fun.
Looking for me?
Sounds hellish if you start level 1 for sure, but sounds cool.
Level 1, you just start off with only Ancients, Mega Creeps incoming.
It's gonna die.
Necrobook is back into the game.
No, never. You thought you could slide that through me, right? No. Stop. Stop it. not
Solo's
coming
having
back.
a look for Roshan. So Solo's going to be sitting in Roshan pit for the next 2 minutes by the looks of it.
Why
Lucky
not?
Solo.
Why not? There's nothing else for him to
Playing
do.
+5.
Yeah. He doesn't get any farm. He's just there to give the info. Everyone else gets to have fun with their build up. Even on Taurus, you know. The support player who doesn't want to play support playing the Doom, still being a support though. And props to Miero, having a lot of impact
It
here.
just makes me question Solo's sanity at some point, right? Because it's like this guy has to play, like for the last 10 plus years, he's had to play a walking ward, right? It's just he's the purest of pos 5s, Jonathan. He's like Pile Die, you know? They play support. That's what they're doing. Whatever it takes, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you've seen it Pilot Eye's eyes. I can tell Solo has the same eyes.
He's
That's
seen
fair.
some shit.
They've seen a lot. Both of these guys have seen a lot, especially good old Solo. You know, we've talked about cursing 9Pandas before. Certainly not coming in this time. Knock on wood for any 9Pandas fans, as we mentioned that. But you know, it's looking good. You know, the game 1 curse from John and Mike is gone for now.
You said it. I mean, game 1, it was best of 2 curse, John. They were losing every game we casted. I can't remember one game being won from 9Pandas when we cast. Pretty sure Ramsey's just straight up going to punch us in the face if we end up in an elevator with him. You know, if we see Ramsey's in an elevator, he's just straight up going to slap us. Don't ever cast my damn games again, you morons.
Alright, Ramsey's just chill. He's just chill. I'm sure he doesn't
Chill.
even know us, Mike. It's fine.
Chill before you're in an elevator with him, Jonathan. When you're in the elevator, things change very quickly.
I mean, no
Those doors
highs, no
close,
hellos.
everything
It's an
changes.
elevator. You're not supposed to necessarily make small chat in an elevator.
And that's how I know you never worked a corporate job, John. Because if you did, you'd find out you have to make this garbage small talk all the time. Especially when you see your boss. It was terrible. Very toxic.
I could just always pull the Filipino card, start speaking Tagalog, you know? I've got a bailout, Mike. Turn off the American accent.
Roshan, finally going to respawn. Solo, you are now off duty. Well done, sir. Your watch has ended. Roshan. Going to go down freely, obviously, because they are still up against Mega's Team Spirit, so they don't really have a play towards the Roshan pit. They are playing all defense at the moment. The Aegis Cheese Refresher Shard now available, and it looks like Kiyotaka's going to take the Refresher Shard for himself. I think is fine. Double BKB. Are you about to tell me it doesn't work on items?
No, does work.
Is it right? Okay, I was just gonna check because I swear you've said that to me before.
No.
Was there a new patch while I was, before this game went?
No, Mike. No, you're fine. Just
BKB,
saying. Yes.
double BKB. It's very strong.
That it is. You could argue perhaps a double static storm could be more useful, but you don't have the Ags upgrade.
This smoke. Kiyotaka. Oh, he's been caught. That might be the Aegis.
He tried to
Okay,
solo.
there goes your
Tormentor.
He tried to solo the Tormentor. Ends up going underneath the creep wave and dying.
Ooh.
They'll doom up collapse, but now the AoE vortex from Law is gonna lock him down
Oh
for
my
Ice
God.
Blast. They've lost Antares. That is one down, but he'll buy back. In goes Ramses, trying to go after Mira. Yatoro can't protect him. He hasn't got the damage output. Mira will go down. Yatoro, he's surrounded to boot. He's down as well. They are going to buy back, but now the Ancient completely under siege, and they've called it. GG. There are too many units from 9Pandas surrounding the Ancient. They will go down in the end. What can you do? 9Pandas, they run this interesting draft, and I'll tell you, John, it looked really good. Past that 6-minute mark, it felt like Spirit just could not get this game under control, and you got to give them props. This draft was very unique, but it does work.
It does work. It does feel like Team Spirit didn't manage to utilize their own draft, right? Like, they didn't manage to group up early enough. We had a couple of times where Collapse just didn't have a TP to show up. They overcommit, like this dive up top, this overcommitment from the supports to look for a kill when Collapse was just farming a camp. Like, it felt a little bit disconnected for Team Spirit in this game 1. 9Pandas certainly on point as a team, as a unit, playing around this timing, playing around this early tempo that they knew they had. And Team Spirit just looked a little bit lost with their own draft. You know, just not finding the openings they'd want, not recognizing these opportunities when it does arrive. It was this dive that really cost them. Like, you see their position behind tier 2s with no creep wave, and Collapse had no TP. Surely Yax had tried to make a play, and the moment they tried to make plays, it did feel better, but your Ancient was already exposed, you lost your high ground, and the tempo was just off. Like, props again to 9Pandas for playing this high tempo game, but I feel like Team Spirit, it's not exactly what you'd expect from them. Certainly just, it felt like it could have been a lot more even, but 9Pandas were just so disciplined. Like this play here, baiting in with Antares, getting the Static Storm on top of the Storm on the re-engage. When BKBs have faded from the initial gank, just so many good plays coming out from 9Pandas that felt so punishing for Team Spirit here.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you had the slip up at the end with Kiyotaka, but it just didn't matter. And I guess that was kind of the point from his end of things. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna die trying to solo this Tormentor and jumping into a creep wave and showing myself to you guys, but it doesn't really matter. You guys can't fight back after this second life anyway. This was maybe the one team fight where they actually ended up turning it around a little bit. No, this was the one that ended the game, I think. No, it wasn't. Never mind. It was the Ancients were exposed, of course. There's just so many fights, Joe. So many fights around this Ancient. Hard to remember which one was which. Collapse at some point saves the day. Gets a nice defense off. Was this the team fight I'm talking about? Yeah, Yatoro goes down. Collapse has to buy back, I believe. And there it is. But still, I mean, against Megas, against the Ancient Exposed, against the Zoo Draft, it's pretty hard to make the comeback happen for Spirit. The Sven just never took off.
No. Like, Yathor is pressured really hard once they could reach into that bot jungle here. And again, like, the side of Team Spirit just didn't manage to punish this bump up. Like, it felt like there was... It felt like it was really down to Collapse to make this draft work. If the Axe popped off earlier, if you started to get more out of your Blink Blade Mail calls, then this game might not have gotten as out of control for 9Pandas as it would have. Because for a long time, it was only a 2k lead for the side of 9Pandas. And that was still within the realm of playable for the side of Team Spirit. I think that kind of lead isn't really enough to be completely shut out. You still had control of your tier 1s at some point there. Quite some time, actually. You still had your mid and top tier 1 standing. You had a lot of space out for your Toro. It's just identifying those opportunities to come out for Team Spirit was a little bit flat. Again, they just ended up playing a lot more passively and just allowed 9Pandas to run them down. And again, the execution of the Pandas was very on point in this game.
Okay. With that, we'll head off to a break, of course, and right after that break, we'll have our Game 2 draft between 9Pandas and Spirit and see if we can force a tie or whether we're going to force a 2-0 victory. We'll see you all again very soon.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
الحياة لحن، ولأننا جزء من مقطوعة عظيمة تحركنا، تلمسنا، تصنع من لحظاتنا ذكريات بديعة. لأن الوجبة، التجربة، المغامرة يعطيك بعد جديد في هيلتون الرياض.
All new Honor Magic 5 Pro. Freeze even fleeting emotions in just milliseconds. Take marvelous night shots with lightning-fast exposure. The display reveals more details in bright areas with an astonishingly long battery life that just keeps going. The latest flagship chipset brings you exceptional performance. Unleash the power of magic. Honor Magic 5 Pro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are going to be going into our Game 2 draft here between 9Pandas and, of course, Team Spirit. And it is MLP Dota and John X Fire joining you once again. Jonathan, Game 1, a pretty dominant affair, you'd have to argue, from 9Pandas. Obviously bringing us a very unique style of draft, but one of my personal favourite styles of draft, Jonathan. I do love these cheeky, cheesy kind of drafts from 9Pandas. Team Spirit, on the other hand, probably did not enjoy it very much. So what do you think they need to change up here in this second draft to try and give themselves a bit of a better chance in Game 2?
Honestly, I really don't feel like it was a draft issue from Team Spirit. It felt like they could have met that tempo that 9Pandas were bringing. They just opted to not engage in some times where they were supposed to, and they took some engagements where it was a little bit iffier for them to find that win. So I think as a whole, it felt like Team Spirit wasn't on the same page, whereas 9Pandas were in tune. You know, they knew exactly what to do. Like, look what Team Spirit did up top, right? That early dive with Miposhka and Mira while Collapse was farming. That deep dive from 9Pandas that went unpunched behind the tier 2 mid, where Collapse had no TP. Like, these kinds of small mistakes are not things you can afford to do up against a team like 9Pandas. And, you know, we talked about it in game 1 with their draft. During the draft, you can tell when 9Pandas is having a good day, when they get off to a good start, and they certainly are having a really good day. And then 9Pandas, when they're on the right side of the bed, are a very scary team. So Team Spirit has to bring their toppest game. And drafting-wise, I don't think it fell too short. There was certainly counterplay. I mean, it's Axe up against 4 melee heroes. You had AA on your side, but you never managed to really get that big combination you needed here. And the side of 9Pandas, they just managed to make it work. I mean, the only thing 9Pandas had to save in a lot of those fights were Solo's Disruptor. And he just stayed far back enough that even if the call came in, he'd always be ready with Static Storm. So even in those later fights, while they did find a couple of wins there for Team Spirit, it just wasn't enough.
No, it certainly was not. We'll see again how they try to change things up, at least in the draft. I realize you already said they probably don't need to change the draft too much, but we'll see what they do go down here. As we do have the bans coming out, of course, Snapfire being removed, Timbersaw being removed again. Team Spirit, do you want to ban Undying? Or do you want to give Solo the pleasure of playing his billionth Undying game here during the Riyadh Masters?
If it's left in the pool, you're just going to pick it up. The Undying is the most contested hero for good reason, along with the Snapfire. So, there you go. You ban it out. You don't want to have to deal with that grab ally. And here goes the Broodmother for 9Pandas this time around. So, they get to start off with that once more for Kiyotaka. More than likely Kiyotaka. Again, some flex, but Kiyotaka runs a pretty mean Brood mid. Even up against Storm, he had a pretty decent time in lane. So should still feel fairly happy. Team Spirit has the opportunity to adjust. Maybe the start for Laurel wasn't quite as fast as you'd want. The Storm Spirit versus Brood lane, sure, theoretically is pretty fine for a Storm, but it didn't feel that way. They'll go back into it anyway. So now if we're running it back, it just means Team Spirit maybe feeling more confident to work together as a team, hit their timings, recognize their timings a little bit better, and punish 9Pandas a bit more, but very similar openings here for both ends, Mike.
So far.
5 seconds remaining.
Second ban, rather pickup, excuse me, Team Spirit. What are we thinking, boys? You see that Broodmother, you're probably getting a little bit of PTSD here as Spirit. They're going to go for the Spirit Breaker pickup. Just something we surprisingly haven't seen much of. This is the first game you and I actually get to see Spirit Breaker being picked up by any team during the Riyadh Masters.
Yeah, looks like the priority on that hero just kind of dropped off. We've seen games even all the way back in Baldi where the Spirit Breaker can look a little bit lackluster in a slower game. I do like it here for Team Spirit just because you've got a pretty good way of setting tempo early. Like, it should be much more straightforward now for the side of Team Spirit to try to get that aggression going for themselves. Just having charge, having this stable follow through coming out for Laurel already opens up a lot of possibilities here for Team Spirit. 9Pandas, not pressured to change too much, they won't. Back into the Doom. Flux for Antares and Miero. Even Ramses if the game can somehow end up that way in the draft, but probably not the best option for it. We shall see. I don't think the Spirit Breaker necessarily means that you're not going to try the same playstyle here on 9Pandas. They can certainly just go back to it if they want to. You know, go for the Disruptor, the Lycan, and close out with Night Stalker. Why not? I don't think the Spirit Breaker necessarily shakes things up too badly just yet.
Not yet. Bans going quickly. They get rid of the Alchemist. They get rid of the Darkseer, the Nagasaran. So pretty much the exact same bans in the second phase so far from both teams. Hopefully, for Spirit's sake, it's not going to be the exact same draft coming out from 9Pandas. Well, I suppose if it was the exact same draft, they'd have a game plan towards it, to be fair.
5 seconds remaining.
Spirit may want to run it back. Have a think about this fourth ban. I don't know what it is about these, like, faster, cheesier drafts, but I just love to see them when they do come out. It really does remind me of, you know, the drafts we used to see back when Dota All-Stars was still around and Dota 2 first came out.
Dire team.
And those are the kind of drafts you'd kind of expect, you know, just when things weren't so ironed out. The good old days.
Yeah, just looking for fast tempo, early timings, run at the wall. We used to see a little bit more of that, I want to say 2-3 years back, but meta has kind of solidified.
10
This new
seconds
patch brought the
remaining.
opportunities, bring some of that back, but we haven't seen too much of it either.
5
But
seconds.
it's exciting to see 9Pandas kind of go all in on it. They will ban out the good old Bat Rider now on 9Pandas, preventing some sort of Mirror Bat Rider from coming out here. Potentially just an off lane as well for Collapse, so not covering their bases. I mean, the Bat Rider would have a good time. Solid
10
single
seconds
counter,
remaining.
single target control. Pretty strong in lanes as well.
5 seconds.
Setting up for
remaining.
some good lanes here. Team Spirit already break that mold from the last game. They do ban out the Lycan, so you won't have that coming out here from Yarrow. No Wolf Bite to deal with onto Ramses. Well, they ban one more Ramses hero. Something like the Jug is still here, which still plays with early tempo from 9Pandas quite nicely. And it is something that Ramses has played so much of in this tournament every time he casts that it's almost like his default hero, it feels like, if it is allowed through. So I wouldn't be surprised by a Jug ban. Potentially something like a Bloodseeker ban as well for Team Spirit could be nice, as it's still pretty up-tempo. They'll take care of the Solo Disruptor instead. So targeting the old guard first, ensuring that the Static Storm, which was massive up against the Storm Spirit, is not going to be a factor here.
Dire
Team Spirit, third pickup into the Keeper of the Light now. So they do end up getting the Coddle with the Storm, which is something we didn't see last game around. Something I thought we would see for Lal and, of course, Mira or Maposhka, but they did not choose the Coddle last game. At least this time around they will. I suppose the Coddle's got even more value this game, because not only does the Storm like playing off the Chakra Magic, but Spirit Breaker is also a big fan of Chakra Magic, slowing that charge cooldown even more than it already is. The Spirit going back for a bit more comfort, a bit more stock standard kind of draft so far as 9Pandas. See how they try to respond to this. I was curious last game as to why they didn't try going for the Coddle Storm, but at least this time they'll have it.
Should be pretty stable. And enabling that aggression this time from Laurel should feel a lot better. Lower cooldown and charge early on is pretty nice as well. The Beastmaster does come out from 9Pandas, so it is looking like we are getting the Antares Doom once more. Miera on the Beast. Solid offlane. Great push still coming out here from the Pandas. I mean, you don't have the Lycan, but you've always got the Beast. The Dominator build up into the Overlord. Same sort of timings we were looking for from the last game. A little bit more single target control here as well with Roar. Something to pin down Laurel if he's not too careful up front. We'll need something like, say, a Linken's, but even a Linken's might not be enough with Doom and the Roar available. So you have a lot to be worried about here on the Storm Spirit. And it will also close out with the Oracle. So that, just looking for sustain up front. It can feel pretty nice, especially with a Brood Mother. You false promise a Brood, as long as she has her insatiable hunger, she should not die in the middle of these engagements. And then another nice route as well to kind of hold back the Storm. I like this coming out. I think it's a lot of value for the side of 9Pandas. And it should lead to some stable laning for Ramses. Like, an Oracle +1 is a very hard lane to shove away from farm here.
It certainly is. You love me a good Oracle kind of game. And you know what, John? This could be the first game you and I get to see an Oracle Ags come out for the Brood, if it was a Brood +1, right? Like, Brood with the minus attack animation, like the 0.25 BAT, that'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, it would be very nice for you to get that done.
I'm waiting to see it. That Ags on the Oracle, like in a pro game.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see it anytime soon. It feels like that's something you get in a drawn-out game.
It's so
where
it's so theoretically broken, though.
It is, but it feels like 0.15 is great, but as an Oracle,
0.25,
or
right?
0.1. Forget if it's 0.25
I'll look it up.
or
Hold on.
0.15.
It's 0.25.
Yeah, 0.25 is pretty big, but no, it's 0.15. What are you talking about?
No.
I'm mousing over the Ag Scepter.
No, read
Oh,
it,
that's
Jonathan.
a fade. Yeah, okay, it's the fade. Yeah, I see it. 0.25. It is big, but as an Oracle, I mean, you still need a lot of utility on hand, right? Like, you need your Glimmer, you maybe need your Aether Lens, Force Staff, you need to buy all the smokes, you buy all the sentries. So there's not much room for you to kind of try to rush it. Heck, arguably as a save, you'd be maybe better off with a Holy Locket if you really had to choose as a save. Yeah, it's a nice bonus, but it feels like if your draft is hinging on having that attack reduction, it's maybe not the best draft. You know, that your Oracle has to act as a steroid rather than a save. They do pick up the Terrorblade here for Team Spirit, so a stable, safe lane coming out for Yatoro. Lane's pretty alright into a Beastmaster, but the Beastmaster here can just go for the Axe build. If you land a few on the Terrorblade, it starts to feel uncomfy. You're leaning into Beastmaster Doom here as well, which isn't the worst lane in the world, but you will have to juggle your Metamorphosis usage here on Yatoro quite smartly. Then again, you also end up with Terrorblade Keeper for Light in laning phase, so Chakra Magic keeps that downtime of Metamorphosis within a manageable reach for the Terrorblade for the most part.
Final bans to come.
Team spirits turn to ban.
You know, I talk about the Oracle Ags a lot, but I've never built it myself, Sean. I'm a bit of an Oracle spammer myself as well, so there's that. I'm yet to build it, so there you go. It's a bit hard. Like this hero is just so damn good with just the standard healing items. Team Spirit.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll drag this game on to 60 minutes, John, and we'll get to see it. You know, maybe a free Roshan off Ags would be the time we get to see it happen.
Perhaps. I feel like free Ags is... I don't know, like, would you give Oracle over the Brood with the traps? That's a lot of info on the map.
Give me
right? Or
give me
your
some
support
hopium, John.
Doom.
Give me some hope.
I know, I think I've seen so many even in Turbo I've never seen, outside of one. My friend who specifically picked Oracle with Alchemist. Gave it a try, and it was funny with Alchemist. It's a very funny combo, but it's just not realistic. You know, it's just... maybe if... What if they made that the Shard? Make Reign of Destiny the Ags again, give it more damage and healing, and make this BAT and nerf it down to 0.15. You know, from 0.25 to 0.15 as a Shard, it'll be there every game.
It'd be broken as hell. Even if you nerfed, it'd be broken as hell. Final ban to come. Team Spirit.
We'd finally see it, Mike. You know, we'd finally see it.
I'd love it. I'm not complaining, Jonathan. I'm an Oracle spammer. I'd like it. Though I appreciate they at least changed Reign of Destiny to Shards, because that was a terrible Ags, let me tell you. No one was buying that. Jug gets banned out by Team Spirit, so there you go. The Ramses Comfort does eventually get banned out. Is this going to be a Kiyotaka Broodmother? Is it going to be a safe lane Brood, perhaps? We're about to see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. They brought out the Meepo. Alright. So, who's playing Meepo, John?
I think you'd want it on Ramses, honestly.
10 seconds
Feels like it's decent in this lane of Spirit Breaker +1.
Do we
and farm up fast?
Do we still have to ask
Mega...
if someone's a Meepo player? Like with the changes to Meepo? Because it feels a lot easier to play. So like you don't really have to be a Meepo player anymore, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if you don't like the micro that much, which honestly isn't the worst, you just kind of tab cycle through your units anyway. After getting your initiation, it's not the worst, but even thinking about all that micro, you just go for your Ags, you're happy. Team Spirit into the Sand King they go. So it's Sand King Spirit Breaker lane. Kiyotaka will take that Meepo mid, which the mid matchup is... It's decent. I can see Storm getting a little bit more from that lane. Just, again, by virtue of range matchup, Static Remnant, Overload spam. It's not going to be the smoothest of times for Kiyotaka. But once you build up in this Meepo, it's really stable hold for the Storm. So again, forcing out the defensive items here for Laurel. He will need something to save himself here in the middle of these fights. There's a lot of scaling to come out here from the side of 9Pandas. Again, it's a little bit early tempo once more, like Game 1's draft. But there's also scaling into late game. Although, taking it late game with Meepo Brood up against Terrorblade can be a little bit awkward. But certainly the mid-game spike is massive if you manage to build the stats up on Kiyotaka and get that Ags going. Just Meepo Fling, Meepo Dig, and Mega Meepo. Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch if we get to that point with Kiyotaka. But again, the mid lane matchup might be a little bit slower here.
All right, but John,
not the fastest for a Meepo.
I know you're talking about the Ags and the Meepo, but what about the Sand King Ags, Jonathan? What about the Burrow Strike in the middle of a sandstorm? Does that not sound great? Like, is this... I'm so excited to see Sand King because this is one of my favorite offlaners to play, and we never get to see him anymore for some apparent reason. I think with the Chakra Magic on top of Burrow Strike, obviously having that really low cooldown is going to feel really nice for Collapse, blah, blah, blah. But can we see the Aghanim Scepter Sand King in this game?
I think it's likely, because it doesn't feel like you have too many things to build into as a Sand King. You could opt for the Aura build-up for sure, but after something like your Blink Travels, maybe a BKB, you don't really need too much more. Maybe a Shivas. I can certainly see the Ags for the utility. That Sandstorm is really annoying. It's so weird because it's RNG based. And again, there was always that early argument to leave Sandstorm level 1 for just unlimited stuns because of a smaller Sandstorm AoE.
Yeah.
But it is annoying in the middle of the fights, especially as BKBs fade down. It could be one thing. I mean you have to remember with Sand King, the reason why it's kind of dead is because Epicenter level 1 is kind of garbage. His ult is actual just weak, right? That's the one thing you love to point out about Sand King.
I mean, Epicenter is garbage, I give you that, John. Well, hold on a minute, because 9Pandas are trying to do something a little bit cheeky here. They do seem to see Collapse. They're just going to slowly move in with the net out, hold him down into the Fortune's End. Collapse will try with the Sandstorm, but he's gone. That's a great setup from 9Pandas to start the game off. Straight off the bat, just catching Collapse with his pants down in the mid lane. Already a pretty sad start for my Sand King, Jonathan, which is a bit upsetting to see for me.
Wish I'd learned how to
Tell me again about the Sand Kingdom, Mike. What are you gonna say about this? What's it saving, Grace?
It's not the Sand King's fault, Jonathan. Collapse was in a position on division, that was all. Going back to my point, the Axe, even with Max Sandstorm, still feels really good. Even if it is RNG. Maposhka now, right over a bounty, does get it, but he is going to take a lot of damage on his way out. In fact, he might actually just be dead. It doesn't seem like it. Maposhka, no blood grenade available onto Miro or Kiyotaka. He's going to be just fine to walk out. Meanwhile, Antares, as you're watching, he's just going for body blocks to try and force the Dire Creep Wave underneath the tier 1 tower. But he didn't go for the Sentry Ward trick. I don't think. He still has a Sentry in his bag, so maybe just body block the whole thing as Maposhka. Blood Grenade now landing onto the Spirit Breaker, and he just has no way out. The axes are not going to be enough, but Antares will get the right click. We'll get it done.
Strong start already for 9Pandas. And this is a very similar draft to Game 1's draft, so you're looking for tempo here. For Yator in this lane, it's all about managing your Metamorphosis. Gets a lot of damage off onto Miero. Still manages to walk under that tier 1. And that is the one thing here for Yatoro. If he plays around Metamorphosis, it feels good. For the Spirit Breaker lane, you can try to punish double melee, but you can just kind of slowly poke and prod here. You've got the magical damage with the Axis. Level 2 Axis start to feel a bit oppressive for the Terrorblade to lane into. And because you don't have the Coddle in lane, you're not going to get that relief on Metamorphosis cooldown either. So it can be a slower tempo for Yatoro once that spell fades away here.
That is. He wants to try and get aggressive again onto Yatoro. Maposhka, not much he can do right now to help out at the level 1 mark. Hoping for some bashes, but not going to get them. Have a look at the other lanes while we have a chance. Of course, mid lane, Kiyotaka taking a fair bit of damage from Lal on the Storm. But we also saw this last game. Like, Kiyotaka's more than happy to just cop the harass on his melee mid. Just get those levels up, get to a point where he's going to be a real menace. Though I would argue he's having a bit of a rougher time on the Meepo than, say, he was in the Broodmother. I think as time goes on, like, you've got the Ransack, you are eventually going to heal up. So chances are, unless he overextends, Lal should not be able to find this kill.
Just has to be a little bit more cautious. If Laurel sees the opportunity for the Vortex in, it's a high likelihood for a kill. Kiyotaka just going for the pull across to get the Water Rune as well. He's doing a good job of equalizing this lane. Wondering how heavily they emphasize the jungle here for some flash farm, if that's something Kiyotaka will want. The Meepo does want to start off very fast into the early stats. Let's see if they've got enough room for that. Or early rotation here as well from Team Spirit. Can punish that Meepo while it's weak, but with your side lanes tied up the way they are, I'm not sure if you're really going to find the openings for Maposhka to leave Yatoro alone. And this bot lane for the Terrorblade, it's not the smoothest times for him to try to hold solo up against the magical output and the durability of 9Pandas, so you might be stuck in that 1v1 for a lot longer here for Laurel.
Top lane, Solo and Ramses going up against Mirror and Collapse. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a fight over the Lotus Pool, but Solo will be able to take it for himself. Collapse not actually able to finish the courier off. bit afraid for his life, will back away. Does have the Ring of Health on the Sand King, so should be able to sustain himself pretty easily in this this top lane. Doesn't seem like they're able to really slow down Ramses though, which may be the big issue. The Broodmother is off to a fantastic start.
Doesn't care too much about any sort of harassment back from the Caustic Finale. You've got the Oracle that can top you up here as well. Amir can at least help with Chakra and Sandstorm, so you can keep spamming that out. You're likely not looking for any aggression with early bursts right here, so you will just want to play a farming game or collapse. This is also, notably, a very rare bug lane. Like, you don't often get this, but Brood up against Sand King. It's been a while.
True. Very, very true. Mid lane. Lal getting very aggressive. Kiyotaka going to get charged now. In big trouble. Lal, he'll keep up the vision. Maposhka just continuing, but a nice Fortune's End. Solo in time to save, as now Lal going to be in danger. All the blood grenades being thrown out onto the storm. The Purifying Flame's currently healing him up, so Lal is surviving a little bit longer. So they'll turn back in on Maposhka instead. Maposhka now being healed up by Solo. Gonna walk away. They've got another Fortune's End though, so Lal should finally go down. And they will get him. 9Pandas. A great play is now Maposhka trying to trade, gets a bash off, but now ensnared up by Kiyotaka. Probably is not going to get what he wanted. The Solo makes it. Mira trying to run. Fortune's End going to follow him down, but he's okay. He's past the tier 1 tower. Still, this mid lane has gone disastrously already. The team spirit now is Kiyotaka. He's 2-0-1. In a Meepo vs Storm lane, that's a real feat for Kiyotaka.
That is massive. You drag all your supports in as well for Team Spirit to try to get that done, but the response is on time from the side of 9Pandas. It's a bit of a reset for Solo. But again, just heads up plays again from 9Pandas. They see that rotation in, they know the charge is coming through. They get the Fortune's End off in a very good rotation.
They get very close to dying there, John. I mean, the charge was out onto Antares, but he had the one charger, so he will be fine. It's now Miero just chasing Maposhka. Maposhka 5 seconds away from the charge. Will be okay as Miero does run out of mana, so cannot spam out the wild axes any longer. However, they did have a mango, so Yatoro now going to be targeted. Will go for a run down south, but the chase is on. Maposhka, he gets a nice charge off, but can he actually protect Yatoro? He will die himself, but at least buys a bit of space as the TP is still running. Chase him down. He might even find him. Yatoro trying to duke out, but the heat is incoming. Antares with the Scorched Earth taking him down, but not quite. Yatoro, she jukes them out. How does that even happen?
Gets his little hidey spot in the tree line. You don't manage to spot him out, and he does survive for another day. No regen on hand though. And no regen as well in Maposhka, so it's going to be a slow process in healing up here on the Terrorblade. But they will get some TPs out, Laurel.
Nice rotation. Miero, very low in HP, still going after Yatoro with the axes. But will go down, so the rotation of the storm paying off.
It's a big one for Laurel to find after that slower start in lane.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Does take a
attack.
lot of commitment. You know, good bait out from Yatoro to get that done, but that is space for Kiyotaka on mid to just do what he wants. He's farming up the side camps, getting that build-up he wants. The top lane is also going smoothly for Ramses, although so low.
Could go down and will. Unable to heal himself back up. Meanwhile, Kiyotaka, though, takes down Maposhka in the Radiant, or rather the Dire Triangle. So we'll get away with another kill on the Meepo. You are kind of at the stage to Kiyotaka where... I mean, he's becoming a real danger. Already level 6. Once the Rod of Atos is up, like, you're not going to feel very safe as Lal. You cop that initial root and you're just guaranteed to die. It's going to be a pretty fast timing for Kiyotaka. Charge out onto Solo, it seems, mid lane. Lal charging. Poshka will land onto the Oracle, gets an immediate bash off. Blinding Light is out for good, but he will Fortune's End to get away from this. Still, Solo is going down and will drop. Had it not been for the double bash, he may have actually survived. We're getting bashed on the first hit. That's a problem.
Just a little bit unfortunate with the RNG. Yataka as well, not the healthiest, and trying to force something out to the secondary Meepo coming in. They can't cut off that aggression. You are finding some good trades for the side of Team Spirit. They're at the point where they can leave their side lanes alone for the most part. They're getting some good stacks off in the triangle as well with Mira And Yatoro in the solo lane is doing against the Beastmaster and the Doom. So you can't afford to get this early activity out. Tried to punish with 9Pandas trying to play the Meepo. Although these kills onto solo, maybe not the most meaningful. As Kiyotaka is still able to farm and Ramses is still able to farm up the Storm as well. So your big cores are still getting that build up. You've got the 6-up on Ramses, he's got his Soul Ring, he can spam out the Spider Links. Collapse can sort of clear them out, but you can always just micro away. And threaten as well.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Lane. Ramses getting chased down, not gonna die though. Solo will protect with the Fate Edict. Lal will leave the area as Kiyotaka has shown himself. Kiyotaka though still rushing forward onto Mirror. Gonna see the Keeper of the Light. Wants to see if he can maybe find the Storm instead, but he will not. Mirror now being targeted. So there is help incoming. Collapse gonna move back in with the Burrow Strike onto Solo, trying to take down the Oracle, but Solo has the Fate Edict. He'll survive a little bit longer as he's set up on Lal. Lal, he'll get to the high ground though. He's gonna be okay. He will make it out. The TP away is gonna be there.
Is under attack.
You can kind of see the desperation. Like you get one kill, but you've always got to sacrifice somebody for it on the side of Spirit. Speaking of sacrifices, Yatoro not looking too good. Does have the TP rotation from Mirror with the blinding light, but Miero is still chasing as they're all up, but they've lost vision. Mirror, he kind of pump fakes the other way. And it jukes them out, so now the charge can come in from Aposhka and the turnaround can come out. Untitled, he's the big target. Miero is still chasing Yatoro, but he's in the Roshan pit. Can they guess? Oh, the Sunder! Yatoro from the Roshan! Not gonna die, gonna try and turn now. As Mirror finally goes down. But can Miero get himself out? Miero gonna go for a on Yatoro. He'll man up. Untitled is still being chased by Maposhka, but they'll turn onto Miero. Even Roshan coming back to watch this spectacle. Roshan wants a bit of a good view. They'll lose Miero in the end.
Man, sick blocks out from Team Spirit is ensuring that they lock in Miero. A really good bait out once more. Yatoro with 2 baits this time. One a while ago juking around trees. This time dancing around with a Doom, hiding in the pit. I swear the axes should have given them vision, but they don't manage to connect it far enough.
Oh, top lane. Fighters are on the chase. Collapse gonna try and take care of them. Have at least one level in Caustic Finale. Be fine. You are getting close enough to the point where Collapse will have the blink up soon. Like, just about 900 gold away, and that's going to be the timing that I think Team Spirit want to try and play off. It's just rough though, because like with Solo behind any core that you jump, he uses Fate's Edict, and all your epicenter damage just is nothing. Your Sandstorm damage turns to nothing, your Burrow Strike damage turns to nothing. Just one Fate's Edict. Ramses though, he doesn't have an Oracle right now, he could be in pretty big danger. He is completely surrounded. The charge will be there, the Vortex is out, he needs some help right here, right now, but it's not coming. They will let Ramses die. To be fair, I guess Kiyotaka's the real carry anyway.
He is. Kiyotaka's actually rushing the Ags now. After that Rod of Hatos. Mind you, early Mega Meepo doesn't feel amazing with how tanky it is. It does feel like you want your max out divided, you want a lot more stat items to be up. But it could be the start for Kiyotaka. With a Mega Meepo in the fling, could be.
I was watching the other day, I can't remember who was playing Meepo, but they used Mega Meepo and he had like 11k HP or something.
Yep.
Just so stupid.
That's what I'm telling you, just a few stats up. This guy's just the biggest, highest damage dealing mega tank in the game. He is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Meepo can get so crazy if you reach that point. Mind you, Ags alone with 2 Meepos, it's not the scariest thing in the world. You might not have the burst damage for it though. Again, if Solo positions right, gets the save, I doubt you'd kill off the Mega Meepo. So there is that going for you, as they will just clear out the triangle stacks here for Kiyotaka. Has a lot of healing coming out from Solo. Solo still being charged up though.
The charge is there. Does eventually get cancelled by Maposhka. Maposhka, he's eventually going to back out. He'll be alright. We'll check for an obs, they'll be set up. Towards the right a little bit, so Solo's not going to get the Observer Ward yet. We'll try again. He still has some sentries, but side's better of it. We'll just hold out for now. As long as Kiyotaka's safe, I guess is the main deal. Like, if the Meepo's not dying, you're very, very happy. And right now, Kiyotaka is certainly not dying. In fact, he's, what, like 1.6, 1.5k away from having the full Ags up now?
Yeah.
Not too far.
Not too far. Would still, again, want more Meepos, want more stats up, but you can start joining in some early engagements just off the back of that Ags. Ramses already has his Echo Saber here as well on the Brood, so it's starting to scale up into that pretty big damage dealer, going just for casual ultimate orb for now, for a little bit more stat padding as well. Smoke out from 9Pandas. No blink up yet on Antares, but see if they find an angle out here.
Bottom lane, Yotaka having a hunt, barely misses out on Lal. And the Rod of Atos makes it so Lal can't not get away if he does connect. Oh, Antares, he's gonna find him. The Doom is out. The Rod of Atos to lock him down. The Storm surely cannot survive. It seems like he cannot. He will drop. No surviving here. Even the Spirit Breaker getting caught. But Poshka, he's trying to run. He might make it, just barely. They will lose Antares. Poshka is still running. The ensnare's not landing that time, but eventually they will get it. The 2-for-1 trade, it is in the favor of 9Pandas, of course. They did get the Storm and the Spirit Breaker. And it only cost them a Doom in the end. Pretty damn nice.
Just to support Doom going down. Antares, very heads up. Glimmer caping right as the smoke breaks in the tree line. Just having that angle in for the easiest Doom of his life. No vision, no detection here on the side of Team Spirit under bot jungler. You just get run down. A lot of space being made for Ramses while that happens too. Like, you get activity in Kiyotaka, you allow this ramp up for Ramses on the Brood, who again is looking like he might be opting for something like the Manta style here very early on. Starts to feel pretty oppressive. The Brood Mother's just stat gain and insatiable hunger. Like, then this here is so dumb. Universal types, man. But it is about... Can you imagine if Meepo was universal? He'd actually be way more viable, wouldn't he?
It's funny you said that, because I think that could potentially be a thing that IceFrog does.
Right? Like, he's all about stat
this.
padding anyway.
I literally thought this last night. I was watching a Meepo game. And I said to myself, what if this was universal? Like, why can't we just, for one sub-patch, IceFrog, just do it. Create absolute havoc. Make Meepo universal.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
What if all heroes were universal, Mike?
True. That's fair, Jonathan. That'd be an even playing field.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Yarrow. Bottom lane. Oh, he's always baiting for his team. Team Spirit are going to back off, not happy with what they see. Collapse just going right through the twin gates. Maposhka is the closest target for 9Pandas to break their smoke on, and they will. Maposhka, charge, cancelled immediately. Solo just casually waiting with the Fortune's End. They had the vision anyway. He didn't even need to channel it like that. Kiyotaka, excuse me, to take another kill. That'd be his 6th of the game. And I suppose if you're 9Pandas, you're happily looking towards that bottom T2 tower now. Team Spirit are more preoccupied trying to deal with the top lane at the moment, but while Rams is around that area, it doesn't really feel like you can deal with the Brood. So, 9Pandas safely taking a tier 2 for now.
Just getting a lot of efficiency out. Kiyotaka also working on mid with one Meepo here. No punishment coming out from the side of Team Spirit to try to catch that one Meepo off guard. And they're just going to take more map control. You can't expect that same pressure coming out here from Team Spirit. They still need farm to ramp up. Yatoro, not too far off from that full Manta. Has some protection going for himself on that TB. We've got the Orchid ready on Laurel. So if he's the one starting these fights, you can certainly hope for a bit more of a burst play coming out here. And Collapse has his travels plus the blink. All they need to do is find that good position, but 9Pandas are out with the smoke here.
Yeah, Spirit waiting. Antares, he'll break the smoke on Yatoro. Yatoro needs to run ASAP. He cannot afford to get doomed right now. They'll stun up the Doom. Antares being targeted, still looking for that Doom attempt. Will not get it, but will walk away. So we'll just heal him up. Oh, the blink now up on the Meepo to boot. It's on the courier. If they can buy a bit of time for Kiyotaka to get his blink, it could be a pretty big surprise in the middle of this team fight. Spirit, they're going to stand back for now. It's still a 5v5. Nobody goes down in that last engagement. Now the blink is incoming. Let's see if Kiyotaka goes for the surprise reveal.
You managed to force out the metamorphosis from Yatoro, so terribly it's not going to be around. Could be the big target you're missing out on, but you also could just go Roshan here for 9Pandas, no problem.
They will. I mean, it's completely free for them. Why the hell not? Team Spirit, they're the ones that need to try and counter this. Try and engage into the Roshan pit, but like you mentioned, without the metamorphosis, you probably don't have many the highest odds of
balling.
winning is Antares, is going right after Collapse, but Kiyotaka's here. Are you playing Meepo, John? You only need one of them. He sends the main one in, gets it done. Antares will cop the tips. He's got his own blink now on the Doom, so that means Team Spirit's life becomes even harder now against this draft of 9Pandas, and it's not even over yet, because top lane Maposhka is going to try and TP out, and he will make it. They have no stuns for it. Mid lane, they found Mirror. I'll tell you, this Rod of 8 plus Meepo, it almost feels like cheating, because it gives you the stats. You know, it gives you the lockdown to set up for the Earthbind. It really just feels like it's cheating.
And it does. That's so much for the Meepo. We're ramping up very fast now into Kiyotaka. We haven't even seen the Mega Meepo yet.
That is, Limit Cape not going to save him. But here come the cavalry. 9Panda, they're rushing right towards the south, seeing if they can fight Team Spirit around this area. They'll break the ward at least, but Kiyotaka looking for the storm, misses the Rod of Atos this time. Lal barely reacts in time to get away from that. Scary, scary times for Team Spirit.
That it is. You're at the peak of this Meepo right now. Number 1 in net worth Kiyotaka is. You've got the full Lincolns up and running on Ramses. He's got protection from some of this single target control. Maybe the Orchid is something he fears, sort of Vortex. It's going to be a lot tougher to try to pin down the side of 9Pandas. Again, playing this tempo draft really well in game number 2. And Team Spirit, it's a little bit cleaner than game 1, I would have to say, from them. They're managing to get their farm timings. They're executing on some of these pickoffs a lot better. We are eventually going to see the Ags coming out here on Collapse. So the wish is granted, Mike. After you ults for Collapse, you will try for the Ags. Could rush for it anyway. So wished. But I'm getting really worried about Kiyotaka hitting that level 3 divided we stand. And once he has that additional Meepo, Mega Meepo comes up. Talking about a 6k HP hero with just Ags plus Rod of Atos, round about that ballpark. You don't kill him. You don't.
Of course, Meepo can solo Tormentors, because why not? There you go. Shards up for solo. Oh, what's that? We want another shards? No problem. I'll take care of it, boys.
This is sickening.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir. Is Kiyotaka today? It'll be the second shards to come out here for 9Pandas. So glad Meepo's back in the meta. Always happy to see this hero back.
Calling for this guy since the Ags change, honestly. Like, it's just ridiculous.
You did
It
call
fixes
it,
up
right?
It fixes up his scaling so much, you know, and I'm glad to
Are scanning.
maybe.
It's not as cheesy as it used to be.
Top tower
You know,
is under attack.
people think Meepo's bad now, but they weren't there back in the day. You know, you get
mean-
one.
Radiant's middle tower
Yeah.
I
is
would say
under
it's
attack.
almost worse because he doesn't taper off. That's the worst part about it.
But it's not cheesy. I would argue. It's strong, but I can't say it's cheesy.
I think Meepo is still
Radiant's
very
middle
much
tower has fallen.
cheesy in a way.
Radiant's
I
top
think it
tower
still is
under
cheese.
attack.
It's just it hasn't been viable cheese for a while. Just a rotting hunk of cheese, but now some of that mold's peeled away, Mike. It's ready to be consumed once more.
Some people like the mold.
Not
You
too
never
much mold, Mike. It was more mold than cheese last time around.
Or water. Speaking of Kiyotaka, he's in Mega Meepo form right now, but he's been caught out. He's by himself. He's got the Aegis up at least. Go dig Kiyotaka. He's still relatively healthy. Okay, maybe it is cheesy, John.
Yeah?
But if you can't
Yeah?
kill the damn hero, if you can't kill him, maybe there is a problem. On a mirror. We're all mirror. Just gonna get chased down. Soulbind at least there. He's gonna try and buy a little bit of time. Case is on though. He's not making it. Bye-bye, mirror. Mid lane?
It is.
Oh. Bye-bye, collapse. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, Sean. I don't see what the problem is with the zero.
You're saying it's not cheese?
I see no issues here, Jonathan. No issues.
Two
for me.
invulnerability states with Dig, Mega Meepo giving you a separate HP pool per Meepo
Here we
rather
go.
than
There's no
the
problem.
combined HP from damage.
There's no problem with this, John. There is no problems at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
See, I think the one thing to balance Meepo is that make Mega Meepo's HP scale with current HP. Right? Instead of getting your full HP as a separate entity. Scale to current HP from the combined HPs.
That's a great ensnare. He found the storm. Completely blind. Kiyotaka finding the storm for his 10th kill. Why are they tipping Yatoro? Ramsey should be tipping his own damn teammates. Well, why is he tipping Yatoro for?
Because he's farming, I guess.
Oh wait, Ramsey, to be fair, you've chosen Brood Meepo and Beastmaster and Doom on the same team. And last game around, he had Lycan, Nightstalker. I mean, I don't know what happened to 9Pandas' job, but they just went completely cheese overnight with these drafts.
I'm loving it. No, yeah, for the past few days, we'd say, 9Pandas have a slower start. They go back to farming for Ramses. In fact, in a lot of games, what Yator is doing is what Ramses tends to do.
There's literally no problems here, Jonathan. Literally 0 issues here from Kyoto.
3k HP on one Meepo.
Yes.
Let's see the Mega Meepo. Let's see Paul Allen's card. Give it to us, Kyoto.
Here we go, they get close. Mira getting in there, trying to bait one of the Meepos forward, I think, because Yatoro is now here with the Skadi. Problem is, they don't seem to care so much as they'll go for the objectives, looking for the Mega Creeps. Team Spirit are the ones that need to try and find a way to stop this. It's there out in Yatoro, they've got the big target, but they just are not diving in yet. There goes Untitled, but he will not get the Doom off. In goes the Epicenter, but the Fate's Edict just going to save the day here as they're just doing not enough damage. The Burrow Strike's going to be great, but is it good enough to win out this team fight? Because they are still just melting the Kiyotaka. At least they will get Miero. That's 2 down. 9Pandas now retreating. Or are they? In goes Kiyotaka. Mega Meepo time. Poof away, back towards the Mega Meepo. Rod of 8 toss, Maposhka, he hasn't learned his lesson yet. So I have to Visor. It seems like Yatoro, he's happy to keep going. But he can just poof away. Literally nothing wrong, John.
It's a good high ground hold from Team Spirit up against nothing wrong. And they managed to hold on to one set of racks at the very least.
Just say, against nothing wrong.
Yeah, against nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong here, right? Good old Kiyotaka could change his name into Nothing Wrong. Just keep playing Meepo.
Yeah.
Keep playing his stuff like Tinker. This guy has the most disgusting hero pool if you really think hard about it, Mike.
He does. I haven't seen his Arc Warden yet.
Would you want that in his repertoire as well?
I had this thought the other day, right, after this Meepo game. Arc Warden players, right, Arc Warden spammers, they're essentially just bad Meepo players, right?
True.
Well, they are, aren't they? Like, they're like the soft, bad Meepo player. Like, I can't risk my life by having 4 or 5 of these little guys. I'll just get one Temper Stubble that won't kill me if it dies. They're just bad Meepo players.
I would argue maybe. I think for me, when I do somehow, God help me, a random Arc Warden, I play it like techies. With the spark rates. So for me, it's both of them. It's both bad Meepo players and old techies players who miss the mine stacking the top, Mike. I think it's both groups.
That and Cycle. Ramses, not playing. They've got the Broodmother. He's got his BKB, but this will be a big pick-off. Ramses is gone. That's a huge pick for Team Spirit. He has buyback at least. But Yatoro is getting to the stage where he's become a problem. Like, you aren't as comfortable anymore fighting for Spirit. In fact, Roshan's even up now.
And they can clear that really fast with the outfit on Yatoro. Maybe all those picks onto Yatoro? No, we're for a reason. He's doing what he needs to do. He's farming, as Ramses would in a game like this. And now, Roche gonna go there way inside of 9Pandas, not anywhere near find that control. The big issue for 9Pandas in these fights, especially in that last high ground on top, is that you're not able to get the Doom off on Antares. When he comes in, the illusions come out, and Yatoro stands far back enough, blinding light. The blast comes through, and you're not able to really gap close. So you can't quite just jump in and get the Doom off as you want to here on your support Doom. If you could control up Yatoro, it becomes a simplified process, but again, the side of Team Spirit are playing their cards right, standing back with the supports, protecting that Terrorblade, baiting in the side of 9Pandas. You are scaling up still quite fast on Kiyotaka though. He does have the full Swift blink up, he's going for the Butterfly next. If we somehow reach 60 minutes, I would love to see a Giant's Ring Meepo.
Oh yeah.
That would be fun.
They don't all go Giant though, do they? Only one of them.
If I recall, it should just be one. Should just be one.
It's sad.
Yeah.
I think you'd more than likely Apex, wouldn't you, Meepo?
Apex would still be good as well, but I feel like stats. I feel like HP. I mean, you're just thinking about Mega Meepo, right? Like, so you get what?
Apex
that
gives you plus
11K?
70.
You're an Agi hero though, right? So it gives you.
Primary ad. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I get
gives
it.
you
I
your
get
edge.
you. Okay.
I HP numbers a little bit more. No, I want that fat HP bar, Mike.
Okay. That's fair enough. Top lane. 9Pandas, they'll have a big wrap around here. Knowing Maposhka and Collapse are his. Oh, hold on a minute. They're gonna run right into Yatoro. Oh boy. There goes the Doom out. They found the TP. He does at least have an Aegis up. Can they get there in time for the second light? Maposhka's here already, but he's a bit too early. Here comes Collapse. That's a burrow strike into an epicenter. And Solo is gone. But the team fight, it's still looking pretty rough because Lal's been caught. Lal is out of mana. Will still walk away though as 9Pandas are trying to retreat. Poshka charging back, gets roared up, but is going to be fine to be 4-staffed away as Yatoro now moving forward with his team. Lal will give the vision. He's out of mana again, but he's given enough for Yatoro to go to work, or has he? Because the jump is there. Kiyotaka trying to make his way in, but the Mega Meepo, he's going to keep him alive, but now Yatoro is still trying. Antares is down, but Kiyotaka, he's the big problem. He's the big issue. The Mega Meepo is not allowing them to take him out. Finally, they've got him. Kiyotaka knows I poof away. Spirit Vessel though, kicking him out, collapses back in, but now the Crimson Guard keeping Kiyotaka alive. He finally goes down. They have finally got the Meepo. Ramsey's to follow. Antares is down too. Triple kill for Yatoro. 4 down without buyback. That's something.
That's massive for the side of Team Spirit. Maybe not enough to have them dig into the high ground just yet. Respawns aren't that long here for the side of 9Pandas, but they keep themselves in this game. Lead narrows down. They're forced to respond to the shove-in naturally from bot and mid. Again, not too much map progression can be made, and their Aegis is gone. But you are seeing the issues. The 2 lives on Yatoro is a little bit too much. They're forced to doom up the first life. They don't have the follow-through control for the second. And our Mega Meepo right now doesn't have the highest HP. Still highly durable. Lots of right-click damage instead, with the emphasis on Agi here for the Meepo, but it doesn't match up to Terrorblade when that Metamorphosis is up. If they managed to get that first life with just the Hex and some control, you could have taken that secondary fight with an instant doom, but again, Team Spirit save Yatoro. They managed to come in time. They zip into the back line. They force the earlier Mega Meepo usage, and as it fades away, you don't have that bailout outside of Dig. It's a little bit tougher for Kiyotaka to try to split the damage up here. And Team Spirit stays in the game. 18 to 20. This Terrorblade of Yatoro is just getting massive, going for the butterfly next, and once that butterfly is up, you don't have any way of digging through that evasion. No MKB for Ramses just yet. He does want to focus in on just stats overall for damage, so that could be something that is a little bit harder to counteract. The Meepo doesn't want to go MKB either. You could always opt for a big Doom from Antares, but that puts a ton of pressure here on our Doom, and it's been pretty solid for Antares so far, but it's not simple. And if you're around here with Mira, one blinding light away and that Doom just misses the mark.
John, I know this is going to be a really stupid question. I haven't seen enough Meepo games, so I don't know the answer to this, but what is the level 25 talent? What's Pack Rat?
It is the ability to keep any item in the neutral. So you could put a heart, you could put theoretically a BKB, literally anything there.
Oh, there's an information bar.
Yeah.
I see. Never mind. Thank you, John.
It's an interesting one. I feel like if you start your approach tier 5 items, though, you'd probably just want to use that neutral for tier 5 anyway.
Here we go. The Radiant Triangle. 9Pandas looking for that final lane of barracks in the top lane, of course. It is exposed, but they're having a bit of difficulty getting there now. The Team Spirit, mind you, last team fight, they did have the Aegis on Yatoro. This time around, they will not. So if they manage to get a Doom off the TV again, that could just be it. Bottom lane, Maposhka seems to have been able to get away with get away from Kiyotaka this time. Even sticking around for the Lotus Pool as Kiyotaka sees him doing something. Maposhka, maybe getting a bit too greedy, is gonna pay for it. Unlucky. I don't know if the Lotus were really worth it.
Absolutely not, but plus it's some space. You know the Meepo's away with all of his Meepos, and he is isolated.
You say he's isolated, John. The Team Spirit look isolated with the way he's playing. Tarka just doesn't give a crap. He'll just blink straight south. Top Rax is going down. Will be protected here by Yatoro.
They have to be so careful. If they make a move outside, Ramsey's just itching to rat here. Overwhelmed, get the Mega Creeps going. Help secure this game number 2. In a 2-0 for 9Pandas, catapults him all the way up in the group. Gives him a very solid chance of just staying in this position to start in the upper bracket. It could force some silly tiebreakers for the side of Team Spirit, depending on other results here as well. So, I'll have to see. Mouse issues coming out.
He'll get them resolved. Hopefully Solo's not using a wireless mouse, surely. God forbid.
There are going to be mice issues here. The ratting will commence at some point.
That's true. 10k advantage still for 9Pandas, but it really does feel like anyone's game at the moment. When I say anyone's game, I mean this next team fight could be anyone's fight. Team Spirit are grouped up. They're going to go for a big 5-man smoke. All the lanes have been pushed out quite nicely. Like, you might have to address this mid-creep wave now, but you can always just send the Yatoro illusions in to do it. They're going to maintain their smoke. Mid lane, though, in come 9Pandas. They're ready to fight this one out, but they've got to find each other, is the big problem. Nice scan out from 9Pandas. They know exactly where Team Spirit are. This could be a really bad team fight for them because they're charging right in. Miero, who's he going to roar up? Nobody yet. Collapse will go for the Burrow Strike, and now the zip forward onto Solo, trying to take down the Oracle. Collapse will pop the epicenter, but it's not doing enough. And now the TP, he's going to get caught. Yatoro is gone. Mira is gone to boot. He'll commit the buyback immediately, trying to come back into this fight. They'll protect Lol, but in comes the Mega Meepo, Kiyotaka. He's in trouble, though. He's been slowed up for a moment, but no, he's fine. He'll just walk away.
Oh, this is Mega Meepo. With the Agi build-up on Kiyotaka, he had like 50 plus armor, which sadly only gives you 78% physical res. Yeah, the amount of armor you have just, it gets way less efficient past 40, so you don't really get too much more, but it's a silly number to see. It had 333 right click as well, which is fun, but you don't have any steroid here for Kiyotaka, so you can't really try to go for too much right click up against Terrorblade, but they forced the buyback. Massive win for the side of 9Pandas. Really good flank coming out from Kiyotaka into the backside, away from that fight, killing off some softer targets. And now with a buyback out in Yatoro, you're going to be hard-pressed to go outside your base on Team Spirit. They know one bad fight is all it will take now for 9Pandas to just instantly end this game. Can't afford to have him be targeted down by the Doom. Everyone else has to kick up the pace here. Roche only a minute away as well. There's going to be a nighttime spawn up top. 9Pandas can just take control in the area. Look for that secondary life first and recommit onto the high ground if they want.
They might just go now. Metamorphosis is still 35 seconds away from being available, so it's very hard to see Yatoro being able to help defend this. Mega Creep should be incoming very, very soon. Poshka, he's going to charge through the Meepos. The glyph was there, but the Rax is officially now gone. Megas are incoming. Yataka has 7k HP right now with the Mega Meepo. A little bit low. Hopefully he sorts that out.
383 plus 25 damage. 68 plus 4 armor.
Oh, embarrassing. He gets some stats items, sorts that out.
He is going for the heart next.
That's better.
What is he going to drop? Drop the Atos at this point? Yes, the Hex. He doesn't really need the Atos. Well, I suppose that's a route, and once you have the heart, that should be like a, what, 9k HP Mega Meepo? Should be fun.
Get in there, John. Get in there. Roshan. Reign of Destiny, one of the better looking spells in my opinion. Very, very nice. Roshan just getting bullied here by Kiyotaka. Gonna take everything. Miero jumped in to take something and Solo's like, no. No, these are mine. I'll heal you, Miero, trust me.
Do they have enough lotuses for a block of cheese? Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. So no block of cheese game.
No. Untitled will get the refresher shard, by the way. So Solo does hand that over to the Doom. Apparently doesn't trust Miero to do so, so takes it for himself. Here we go. All they found. It's going to be low, but they've got the Burrow Strike into the Sandstorm, and that's an Aghanim Scepter Sandstorm coming out into the Meepo, so he's going to die once. That Sandstorm can be scary when the BKBs do around. Rory's out onto the TB with the Doom out to boot, but he's still just hanging through it. Yatoro able to walk away. What a Giga Chat. Ramsey's now. He'll cop the false promise. He'll try to survive a little bit longer, but these Burrow Strikes, they're just locking everyone down through the Sandstorms. Collapses hold everyone as Yatoro and the gang will just get to work onto the Meepo. Kiyotaka's gone. I'll tell you, John, this Sankey, he can hold you down for a while these days. They're even going to fight a full team wipe. The Oracle's down to boot.
Clean up. Side of 9Pandas go a little bit too far forward. Kiyotaka looking for that solo pickoff right by the fountain. Does get punished for it. That's everyone down. You do have 3 buybacks ready, but that's an opportunity for Team Spirit with Mega Creeps. It's not the situation you'd expect yourself in. 23 to 23. 9k lead up. Gonna try to get that shove in on mid. No creep wave around yet to go through the back door, but they're hungry. They want to force something out. Respawn's not too far out here for the side of 9Pandas, though. You shouldn't be able to find too much here for the side of Team Spirit, but this could mean we wait for the next rush for 9Pandas, unless an opportunity presents itself here, and Team Spirit, well, they get to build up in the arms race. And there's an Ags coming out for Laurel at some point, so AoE Vortex is gonna be massive. Up against all of the units here on 9Pandas. You've got a lot of scaling potential still left for your supports, especially for someone like Naposhka. Get something like his Ags going. Try to constantly maintain that presence. Mira as well, queuing up his Ags. So, I mean, this game, you could argue you fall back to your Brood Pause 1 to carry through for you, but that's also not feeling the best. I mean, it's a physical core trying to deal with a Terrorblade. At this point, Yatoro just has enough HP and armor to not care about the Broodmother being on top, and there's so much control here from Team Spirit and a wide AoE that they can pin everyone down. Like, the Ag Sandstorm is doing a lot of work.
They're holding. Second game in a row where Team Spirit are holding against Megas. I mean, obviously last game it didn't really work out in their favor anyway, but better to be in the game than out of it. Now an MKB up on Yatoro, even more damage coming in. Doesn't care so much about the evasion of the Meepo any longer. And Pandas, they're just going to take the time to more farm going for themselves. They control the whole map, so there's no need to rush this game for themselves, but I suppose they are getting maybe a little bit afraid of Yatoro. Getting close to that level 25 talent as well for the TB, so inspiration as they have found Kiyotaka. Kiyotaka though gonna go for the fight. He's gonna try by himself, but he can't do it.
Control.
Too much control from Collapse, I think, and I guess the rest of the crew. He was by himself, to be fair. A bit too much.
Way too much. Just, you can't afford to have this Meepo so far forward anymore. You need a bailout here from Solo. That's massive punishment. Still no buyback as well on the Meepo. You see Kiyotaka having to queue up. So while switching between the BKB and the Heart. I'll go back for the Heart, but it's getting really rough. And Team Spirit, their scaling's online. And they've got the output coming through from Yatoro. He's got the MKB. Doesn't care too much about these butterflies being up. Pashka?
In a bit of danger, perhaps? Oh, he's chasing. Keeping Ramsey's, the vision on Ramsey's up at least. He's trying to do this alone with the spiders, apparently. With a slower process. Tormentor will be taken. Miero will take it for himself. Shards, that is.
Bottom tower is under attack.
The dive bomb available with the Hawks. Ag's now available on Lal, so the AoE Vortex, obviously a huge ability to have on the Storm. The blue hole now available, as I believe Snare called it.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
7k back. I mean, 9Pandas. They're in a weird situation now, where it's like you've got to wait for the next Roshan. If you lose the next Roshan, then you may just never be able to go high ground again, even with these megas up.
Yeah, it's It's down to how far can a brood carry really take. That's what we're about to find out. Ramses. The game's more on him than it is on Kiyotaka at this point. Kiyotaka can try to bait out, tank through in front, and Mega Nepo, buy some time. It does feel like it has to be on the brood to kind of try to clean up this 1v1. He has a nullifier on hand on Ramses, but that does mean no buyback available for the brood. In dangerous territory for 9Pandas. Team Spirit, they've done a great job of just finding some punishment. I mean, it looked like a very silly game for the most part, but Yatoro comes online. He gets tipped for farming from Ramses of all people, but it has paid off this farm. 4506. Okay.
Thank you very much. Torres, maybe he forgot the timer. Case.
You blew it!
I know, like, for 9Pandas, you actually do want some scaling on your core, on your supports right now. You would want an Ags on Doom, like a BKB Ags for Antares. It simplifies a lot of these fights. AoE Doom, a lot of control in the middle. Just, you need to be able to get that control. You have to really find a way to stop Collapse, though. If you just get Sandstorm off, it doesn't even matter if you get the Doom off. Just the stuns. You just can't sustain through it. And you have to fight outside that Sandstorm, but radius is so wide. Just great area denial coming out here from Collapse.
I mean,
9Pandas.
Where you get really messed up as well, John, that level 25 talent, it's the 35% Sandstorm, Slow and Blind. That's the big one. It used to be what? It used to be 50% before the nerf. They nerfed it for no reason, by the way. I feel like nobody was playing Sand King anyway.
Is strong. Was
if
too
you get
strong.
to level 25.
I mean, at this point, it looks like we might, you know? Oh.
Kiyotaka, I mean, he knows he's not invincible anymore. Even with a hard up, Poposhka, he's gonna charge right in. Collapse, he's got the control again. Lal, gonna jump in with the Vortex and the blue hole now, catching the Meepo. Kiyotaka, he's gone! He's got no buyback! He has still got no buyback on this Meepo! Can they actually push?
Roshan so close as well. If it's a quick timer, Team Spirit could feasibly go high ground. It's a long one, 2.5 minutes. Unfortunate for Team Spirit. No safety net for them to play off of.
Everyone's against Team Spirit today. David not giving them the Roshan. Nothing going right.
Oh. That's so fortunate for 9Pandas. If that was like one pick off into an instant Rosh, your high ground would be gone. This hard buyout for the Meepo starts to really look a little bit shaky for Kiyotaka. The big thing is you have to find a way to catch the backline. Start these fights on your own terms. Pick off Collapse. Like it's really Collapse and Laurel with control that are making these fights hard. Yatoro can do the damage safely because of them. So if you take out the Sand King or the Storm, you start to find your opportunities here for the Pandas, but they haven't been able to. Miero doesn't have his own blink for trying to set up with Roar. That's one thing that could come out here as well, though he's going for the Octarine first here on the Beastmaster just to have more uptime on the Roar. But it does feel like you need to jump outside of the Meepo. Like it can't be Kiyotaka. Not anymore. Not like this.
Well, both sides are waiting for the next road. They'll just casually wait for here at the top lane. Lal will be left behind down at bottom. They'll just clean up the creep wave as the storm. The spoke out now from 9Pandas. The Hawk gonna give the vision. You're gonna see Collapse, they're gonna make the jump, and Kiyotaka will break the Lincolns immediately. The Sand King already caught out, he's the big target. He should go down immediately, and he's gone down without buyback with the Blue Hawk coming in. Lal really setting up nicely, he's taking down Ramses. They have lost the Brood. Ramses will buy back. Now Collapse has his own buyback available, but he's not popping it yet. He may need to though. Yatoro dropping low, gets a Sunder off, but they've lost the Storm Spirit, and now they've lost Yatoro. Collapse, he buys back now to defend the creep wave, to defend his mid barracks against the creep wave, or rather the mid tier 4 towers. Kiyotaka's still chasing. He's got blink up in 1. Mirai with the Glimmer Cape. He might just... Oh no. Never mind. He's down. The buybacks are in. Kiyotaka maybe going a bit too far. He'll cop the burrow strike. In comes the charge from Aposhka. Kiyotaka, not again.
My God.
He's down again. Are you kidding me? All of this for a keeper of the line? Maybe Mira was just baiting the whole time. He's gonna. How does he still not have buyback?
Doesn't have the gold. He didn't buy out anything this time. He just really didn't have to awful lot. And I don't understand why you chase. Even if you find that like there is a charge. There's the threat of buybacks. They force out the buybacks now, but that's into Roshan for Yator. So you're gonna feel very safe now in Team Spirit. And now they can start to pressure into the mid, pressure into high ground, and pressure to end the game. And one more fight is all it takes. For 9Pandas, that is the best way to start that fight. Catching out Collapse. Taking care of that Sand King early. That's what you need. Just remove at least one piece of control. Either the Sandstorm or the blue hole being taken out and the fights open up for you on 9Pandas, but I don't know if you'll see that opportunity again. Collapse has the full Lincolns up. It's going to be harder to get that instantaneous control onto him. You're going to have to try to layer his spells, and he's going to have enough time to cast his own spells at the very least for the part from 9Pandas. It's going to be a move onto the high ground, and tier 2's just fall. Yator's got the damage.
Or gets a tier 2 tower down. Now, very close to buying out the full Ag's Blessing, it looks like. Once that Ag's Blessing is up, like, you're gonna have that Terror Wave available. That's a pretty big deal for Team Spirit. Yeah, see how impactful that could be. And you're at the stage as well for Team Spirit where they just don't care about Megas anymore. Like, they're dealing with them just fine. They have been for the last 10 minutes or so. 9Pandas looking like they're out of steam at the moment. Maybe hoping for some nice tier 5 items, like it might be time to get those Necro books. Hope for the RNG. Things have been looking a bit tough for them. Maybe they can try it towards the south. They could find Maposhka. But he's in the smoke at the moment and does still have the Shadow Blade up. He won't have the vision on the Spirit Breaker, but Team Spirit, they've got the vision over 9Pandas. They saw the smoke. This could be huge. Spirit moving in slowly, looking for a target to break the smoke on. Kiyotaka, he's going to be the first one. They found the Meepo already. He'll go into the bigger Meepo. He's got so much HP, but is it going to be enough? It doesn't seem like it. They're all stuck in the Sandstorm right now. Miro's gone. Oh, they are melting. Absolutely melting as 9Pandas. Kiyotaka forced to just get back to the mountain. Solo's been left behind. He will run out of the Glimmer Cape Invis. He's gonna die. The Aeon Disc is not gonna save him. Ultra kill for Yatoro. They've got buyback on this Oracle, but that's all they've got. It's gonna be a 3v5 if Team Spirit move high ground.
And it's not gonna take too long to melt these objectives. Yatoro again. He's got the output. 9Pandas forcing that smoke into an area under Team Spirit's control and vision. Not the best feeling. Kiyotaka trying for something cheeky though while all this happens.
Kiyotaka, what can he do? Oh, he's been caught. He's been caught. The Vortex is there. Kiyotaka, he still doesn't have buyback gold, John. He cannot really die right now. We're going to Mega Meepo again. He's got about 8k HP, but can he make it? Even with 8k, the perma lockdown from Collapse is going to be a real problem once he has that Sandstorm back up, but Kiyotaka still trying to get out. There's the Sandstorm into the Burrow Strike. Meanwhile, in the Dire base, they are killing off Untitled. Untitled is down. Kiyotaka, though, he's the big boss. He's the endgame boss. Can they actually deal with him? The blue hole again. Meanwhile, Yatoro, he's under the tier 4 towers by the looks of it. He's trying for the Ancient. Kiyotaka is still just tanking through the Collapse. He's holding him down non-stop with the Sandstorm. They can't take him out. He just digs. He'll reset, but it won't matter if he can't actually leave this area. Collapse. Just a Giga Chat will just keep him here. Burrow Strike again into the Burrow Strikes of the Sandstorm, and now the epicenter. He's got him. The longest kill I've ever seen coming out from Collapse. Meanwhile, Yatoro, he doesn't quite get the Ancient, but he found one tier 4 tower. He got one.
Didn't get any rags though. That kind of hurts. In Spirit just a bit, but with no buyback in line for Kiyotaka.
Where's Maposhka go? Oh, okay. He cancelled the challenge. I was like, hold on a minute, he's not stopping. This guy's crazy.
It's not that crazy yet. They'll finally clean up the racks here. That has bought time for Ramses and Miero to respawn, but without the Meepo, it just doesn't feel like it's enough.
We'll go straight into the false promise and the Reign of Destiny, trying to survive in front of his counter, but it's just so much damage coming in from Yatoro. Keep in mind, Yatoro does not have buyback himself, so if he dies once, it'll be a huge problem, but there's no Meepo, there's no Oracle, there's no Doom. Terror Wave out, Yatoro, he's going for the tier 4 towers. Ramses has got no choice, he has to rush it with Miero, but they're right after the Ancient. Yatoro completely ignoring the Broodmother, about to drop another Sunder comes out, right onto Lal. The game's over, easy for Yatoro. GG easy, he says. And easy didn't look Yatoro. Nothing ever happened, this was the easiest game of his life.
Even Mafashka joining in the action there, saying easy at the end. They did tip Yatoro. Mind you, they did tip him while he was farming under the base is falling. But Ramses, of all people, should know. That's his own gameplay as well. Maybe that's why the tip came out. It wasn't a BM tip. It's like Ramses thinking, all right, I've done this so many times. I know this game. Good job done, Yatoro. But what a back and forth game. What a great series between Team Spirit and 9Pandas. You know, the Pandas, they woke up, but they take their time here. Kiyotaka goes a little bit too crazy with his Meepo, you know, going a little bit too ham jumping in, but it doesn't work out in the end.
This is a really good game. We're going to give it to these two teams. Just such a funny. I mean, these Meepo shenanigans you can see these days are just so ridiculous to watch. They really are. Like, it's just that fight where Collapse was just trying to deal with this Meepo is what I want to see at like the 50-something minute mark. That's the big one. I mean, there was so much action in this game, mind you. Plenty of highlights to be seen. Props for Team Spirit, a huge comeback being made here in this game too, tying out the series 1-1. What does that actually do to the standings, John? I forgot to ask you. What happens to the Group A stand? They're still tied in second place by the looks of it.
I don't think they tie for second. No, they don't tie for second. They would be, I believe, in a position where, yeah, Team Spirit would be third. 9Pandas could potentially have to play ties, depending on what happened with LGD Quest Drew. So there's.
Excuse me, let me correct myself, Jonathan. They're tied now with Gaming Gladiators. Yeah.
There's
second
a tie
place
for second. There's a tie for fourth. So we've already got those big tiebreakers set up there. It's gonna match had so many highlights. It's just crazy. Yataka went way too crazy, man, diving into the back. But the implications again for the groups is pretty wild. 9Pandas now don't have a free ticket until an upper bracket start. They've got to break this tie up with PSG LGD. You know, they're not going to be able to get that stable start. There's a chance for EG as well if they manage to find a 2-0 here to go into that three-way tie at 7-7. So a two-way tie for second, a three-way tie for fourth could potentially happen. Today is going to be a long day, Mike. There's going to be a lot of games to be played still, even after the scheduled games. And
I love it.
What a treat here from 9Pandas and Team Spirit. I mean, what a game. Well, what a series. Yeah. I have no words.
Look at this. Look at this. This is the one. This is the one. Collapse. Like, we're not going to see how long this went. I actually have to go back and see exactly how long that team fight went. I say team fight. So the 1v1 between Collapse and Kiyotaka, the legendary battle that happened between those two. So again, Team Spirit, congrats for tying out the series 1-1. That will at least allow them now to basically have a guaranteed spot through to the playoffs. But they're still in a tiebreaker against Gaming. So now you're fighting for that second place spot between Gaming Gladiators. But I'm sure they're just happy to guarantee themselves an upper bracket position, at least into the playoffs as Team Spirit. And 9Pandas, they still have a chance. But it's looking a bit tough. It's based on what LGD does now. And, LGD's already done what it's done.
They're tied. Yeah, they're absolutely tied 2 ways, potentially 3 ways, depending on EG's game against Extreme.
I pressed the wrong button, by the way, which is why I disappeared, Jonathan. That was not production's fault. I pressed F5 for no reason.
It's all right, Mike. It makes no difference. But again, right now, a guaranteed 2-way tie for Fort, potentially 3 ways if EG does manage to get that go up against Extreme. And already a 2-way tie for second place as well. So already like a lot of tie. I don't even want to think about it. I don't know if there's a new stattle score or head-to-head, but there are ties.
That's not our problem, Jonathan. We don't do math here. We'll head off to a break. Right after that break, of course, we're going to have BBT up against TSM. So TSM's chance to try and make it through to the playoffs. This is their final chance, but they've got BBT as an opponent, which is not going to be easy. BBT did end up coming first place in Group B. Spoiler alert, they've already confirmed to be first place, and they've looked completely unstoppable. Let's see if they intend on showing a little bit of mercy here from the boys from NA, as we are going to head off to a short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with BBT up against TSM. We'll see you soon.